Good morning to those in the UK and good afternoon to those in Thailand. Right, I've just been trying to get on for the past 10 minutes using my webcam, but unfortunately it just keeps switching itself off. So here I am back onto the webcam that's on my laptop. So here we go. Can anybody hear me? Have we got sound? Doesn't look like it. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Mike is in the UK. Okay. At least you can hear, but I've got no little lights flashing to say that it's working. But if you can hear me, that's a good start, isn't it? Technology, it's still all new to this, me setting up for the live stream. I think I set up about 15 or 20 minutes before I come out and I had my new webcam on, trying that anyway. When I clicked to go live, it just went off. But never mind. We've got there in the end. Loud and clear. Yeah, it's working loud and clear, Les. Thanks very much. Okay, at 3 o'clock. I did try to get started at about 10 to 3, but for some reason it just went off. So here I am with my retired and living the dream YouTube t-shirt. And I've got some cups made as well, retired and living the dream cups. It looks backwards on the screen, but and I've got my Leo water. I don't drink alcohol during the day because it makes me tired. So let's get the show on the road. First of all, right, what I'm going to do, I've got some questions that people have already sent to me. And we're going to go through that. And if anybody's got any questions, leave the questions on the side there. And I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. So first question, and actually, I think that this might be a long one today because there's loads of questions that people have actually sent in. And visas, visa applications, visa problems, and visa details. That's probably the biggest questions that people have asked me. And visas actually is quite a big subject at the minute because with the newbies coming in or people want to stay here, marriage visas, retirement visas, elite visas. Now that makes me chuckle. How somebody can throw away 600,000 baht when I can describe a way where it won't cost you 600,000 baht, and you almost get what the elite visa gives you, but you get your money back as well. 600,000 baht. I wish I had 600,000 baht I could just throw away, but I don't. But it makes me laugh when I hear that people have paid 600,000 baht to stay here for 5 years when you could do it. I think with my method, it costs you maybe 35 to 40,000 for the 5 years. Anyway, here we go. Nice to see you, Les. Nice to see you also. Well, can't see it because I'm just looking at myself in the screen, but yeah, I'm here. Warm. For those people who watched my videos yesterday, I did a video yesterday about keeping cool in Thailand and how I tried to keep myself cool in Thailand. And it's very, very difficult because we're in the hot season. It's hot and sticky, and it's not the pleasantest time to stay here in Thailand. But I'd still sooner be warm here than when I was in my 9 weeks back in the UK and every day I felt cold. So anyway, I digress. Let's get back onto these. Again, I'm expecting for 2 hours, but it might go on to 3. Depends what the questions and what the flow goes like. Hello. Chatting to you in Zoom when I was in the UK. My retirement plan is still on track, so hope to buy you a beer. I'm always up for a beer. Afternoonish time, I'll have a coffee during the day, but after 6 o'clock, I'll have a beer. Mark from South Wales. Good morning from South Wales. Is everybody recovering from the coronation yesterday? Now I actually sat and watched it, or sat and watched a little bit of it, because I actually worked for Prince Charles for a year, and I was waiting for my letter to say I'm invited, but I never got it. But I did work for Prince Charles for a year, and he's not all bad. The scheme that I work on was trying to get people with no skills, qualifications, education back into employment or work. And I've got to take my hat off to him. He funded everything for doing that. So he isn't all bad. But when I looked at all of them people sat in the cathedral or wherever it was, I wonder how many of them are dealing with the credit crunch at the minute. Anyway, back onto lifestyles here in Thailand. Visa types. Okay. Now I'm going to try and go through this as simplistic as possible, but there's a if you want any questions answering, just send me an email. I'll put my email on here so people can write me an email. 58 at yahoo.com. So it's Leslie Pearson, 58 at yahoo.com. If you've got any specific questions with regard to visas is just a big topic. But first of all, there's the OA visa. Now, the OA visa is the visa that you apply to come for a retirement visa or marriage visa or looking after a child from outside of Thailand. Now, the thing is with the OA visa, you need insurance. I think it's gone back up to $100,000 for insurance for when you come to Thailand. And then you also need outpatients for $40,000. So the OA visa is losing its credibility because of the amount of money that you have to provide for insurance. So what I suggest for people to do is to come here on a tourist visa and then apply for an O visa once you're here in Thailand. You're going to hear a lot of music in a minute because it's the election on the 14th of this month. And here's the truck saying vote for number 5. Excuse me.
เวลา 8 โมงเช้าถึง 5 โมงเย็นขอเชิญชวนพ่อแม่พี่น้องออกไปใช้สิทธิ์ใช้เสียงโดยพร้อมเพรียงกันโปรดเลือกนายแพทย์บัณฑิตเจตนจันทร์เบอร์ 5
vote 5 vote 5 vote 5
เบอร์ 5 ซื่อสัตย์จริงใจรับใช้ประชาชนโปรดเลือกนายแพทย์บัณฑิต
Okay, now he's gone. So you need insurance for the OA visa. So if you want to do away with the insurance, come here on a tourist visa and then get the O visa once you are in this country. It's just as easy to get it in this country as it is to get it in your home country, and you save on having to have insurance cover. And the insurance cover is for the amount of time that you're going to be here. So whether it's for 2 weeks or whether it's for a year, you need the insurance cover for that. Now, I'm not saying don't have medical insurance or travel insurance, because travel insurance and medical insurance is vital and it's very important for living over here. So I would still say, even if you come here on a tourist visa and you want to get a retirement or visa, still take out the medical insurance. And I'm going to go on later on about the medical insurance and ways around it. There's no way around not paying something, but there's alternatives to paying the insurance premiums for those people that are older or they have pre-existing conditions. There's always a workaround, but everything that I mention on this channel is totally legal, 100% legal, and you can do it. Sometimes it's a play on words, but we live in Thailand and then play on words all the time. But it is possible to do it. So the OA visa, you apply for that outside of Thailand. The O visa you apply for inside of Thailand. And then there's the visas that if you're married, like if you're an English and you have an English wife, then it's a dependency visa. So one person can get the visa and then the other person can apply what's called a dependency visa on the person that's already applied for the retirement visa. Now that's a little bit more complicated to go into, but again, it's just another visa that you can apply for. Then there's the elite visa. Now the elite visa, you pay 600,000 baht And it doesn't matter what age you are, it can be 20 years old if you're applying for the elite visa. And that's 600,000 baht for 5 years, and or up to $1 million baht, I think, for 10 or 20 years. I haven't looked too much into that because it's way above my stature to be able to get a visa like that. And I wouldn't pay 600,000 baht anyway. If you can afford that, there's other alternatives that you can do. And 80% as good as the elite visa if you use one of the systems that I can recommend, and you get your money back totally. So that's that system. Then there's the education visa. The education visa is getting to be much more difficult now because the security or the immigration will ask you questions. For instance, if you're saying you're learning Thai and you can't speak Thai when you reapply for your education visa, then your education visa isn't working. But you can get an education visa to learn Muay Thai. Now, they ain't going to ask you to show some Muay Thai demonstration kicks or holds or things like that. So if you want the education visa, I would steer towards the Muay Thai or the Thai boxing visa as opposed to the education, because it's much more difficult for them to ask to show fighting moves as it is to answer some questions in Thai. So that's sort of the visas sorted out. Now, somebody's asked me, a guy called Mark has asked me quite a few questions with regard to the visas and the retirement visa or the marriage visa. Now, I'm on the marriage visa, and he asks the question, why do I still want to be on the marriage visa as opposed to a retirement visa? Now, a marriage visa for me works out great because, one, I am married, and two, I only need to have either 400,000 baht in the bank or 40,000 baht every month coming into my account. And as I live on about 50 to 55,000, I'm sort of in between that group. For a retirement visa, I'd have to have 65,000 coming in, but I'm on more than 40,000, so I'm in between. So the marriage visa suits me great. It is much more difficult to get the marriage visa as opposed to get the retirement visa. The retirement visa, you're in and out the office in 15 minutes. The marriage visa, you're in and out of the office in about 2 hours. So there's a big difference, and there's an awful lot more paperwork to get whilst you're married, and there's a lot more hoops to jump through for getting the marriage visa. But it's still, in my mind, still worth it if you've got the marriage visa. Now, sadly, if your wife dies, then your marriage visa doesn't last forever or until the end of the marriage visa. The immigration officers will give you either 2 or 3 weeks to convert it to a retirement visa. So that's the difference between a marriage visa and a retirement visa, that if your partner dies or you get divorced, then you have to change it back over to a retirement visa. But the immigration surely much like the retirement visas, because there's a lot less paperwork for them to do. And going on to that, for visas, a question was asked about the agents. Are the agents still okay? Now, there's been a lot of talk recently, well, over the past 2 or 3 years. In fact, there's always talk about the visa agents that they're going to go under, and it's going to be harder. But in reality, I think the visa agents have got more work than they can cope with, because visa agents still wave their magic wands and the visas arrive. And I know quite a few people who've used visa agents because they've been in a sticky situation, shall I say, and the visa agents have been able to manage to get them out of it. All legal and above board. The agents are still there, because at the end of the day, they wave their magic wand and you get your visa. And it costs you more, probably 25 to 35,000 baht to get your retirement visa using an agent. But the hassle that sorts out is brilliant. They can wave the magic wand and you walk away with your visa almost the same day. It might take 24 hours, but you do get your visa very, very quickly. And also going along with visas, it's like a chicken and egg situation at the minute with opening a bank account. Before, you could get a bank account opened on a tourist visa, and now it's much, much, much more difficult to get a bank account opened on a tourist visa. I think it's got something to do with them Russians coming over and transferring their money into the Thai banks to avoid not being able to get the money out of their Russian banks. Nobody said anything about it, but that's my own personal opinion, is that the Ruskies have caused a little bit of trouble. And I do believe the Russians had something involved with regard to whereas before the 45-day, now everybody used to praise the 45-day visa. It's brilliant. It's such a good idea. But now that the amount of Russians are coming over here, that's stopped as well, which is sad really, because it was a good idea, 45 days and then the 30-day visa. And it was really, really good. But anyway, that stopped again. So we've dealt with bank accounts, we've dealt with visas, which type of visas and things like that. Okay, going on to, I've read enough off there now. Let's have a look and see what questions there is in here. Where did the big stone come from underneath the king's chair? It came from Scotland. It was carried all the way from Scotland. But where it came from before that, I don't know. Hello, everybody. I had one by the other day in Jumpton. Busy. I don't know what that was. I must have missed that little bit. I think you also need a police check report if applying in the UK. There's a cost and time associated. Yeah, that's correct, yes, when you go for the O visa. But then you don't need the 800,000 baht deposited into a bank account over here. You can have it in your own bank as long as you can prove you've got that type of money in your own country bank account. So there's swings and roundabouts, but the biggest thing for me is the insurance, and a lot of people complain about the amount of insurance it's going to cost. Dave the Dasher, Les, big ups, mate. Thanks very much. Know someone here who doesn't meet the requirements, crease the right palms for a visa. Yeah, the brown envelope certainly oil the wheels of motion here, and anything can be done if you grease enough palms. And yeah, a little story that I can't really tell, but somebody had insurance after having an accident, a big accident, and miraculously they were insured after the accident, but not before. It came from Ireland, the stone. Oh, I don't know. Question, does the ease of getting a visa from an agent also make spouse visa process easier and quicker? Yes, it does. It does indeed, but if you're going to stop here for a year or 2 years, then it makes sense. And the visa done by an agent is far, far quicker. If you value your time, one person to ask, and I'll give his little channel a plug, Bad Badger in Thailand. Now he's an English guy married to an English lady, and they've lived over here for a number of years now with regard to the visa. So Bad Badger in Thailand, give him a call, join his channel and things like that, and he'll tell you exactly how he's gone about it. Now my wife's Thai, so I can't really go into that. I've researched it a little bit, and but it's like everything else. I can talk all day about how I got my visa and what you need to get it. But as far as bringing an English wife here is concerned, or an American wife, things like that, I would say Tony, Bad Badger, he's the guy to ask, because he knows all, because he does it every year. Another water. In Thailand till I die, just like me, until I curled my toes up. Hello, Les. If you arrive on a tourist visa, how soon do you need to go to the immigration to apply for an OA visa? Now, if you're in Thailand, it's an O visa that you need, not an OA visa. And what you can do, if you don't want to use an agent, you're here on the 30-day. Now you get a 30-day stamp to come into this country, and you can extend that for another 30 days. So that gives you 60 days. So if you play your cards right, you can open up a bank account. Now, open up a bank account, the agents can open up a bank account for you, and that's roughly about 4,500 baht for an agent to open up a bank account for you. Then once you've opened up a bank account, you can deposit 65,000, but it has to come from an overseas transfer. So you can deposit 65,000 baht into your bank account over the 2 months. As long as it's in 2 separate calendar months, then that classes that you've had 2 monthly payments of 65,000 baht. And that's the criteria for applying for, if it's your first visa, that's the criteria that you need to apply for your first visa, retirement visa over here, or have the 800,000. But people, I tend to find, don't want to put the 800,000 baht. So you can do it with the 65,000 baht method, although the immigration will keep asking, they want to see the 800,000, but let's face it, that's what they want, because it's easier for them also. But on your first visa application, all you need is 2 deposits from overseas to show international transfers. That gets the ball rolling in immigration. Now, I would say, don't be scared of the immigration officers. They're there to help you. They're not there to hinder you. And they will help you as much as they can. So if you've got any questions, feel free to go and ask the immigration officers, and they'll tell you exactly what you want and what you need. And they'll help you out as much as they can. Does the ease of getting a visa from an agent also make... we've answered that one, yeah. Do you make of the banks going... What do you make of the banks going over to face recognition transactions and this? Well, it's security, really. It's looking after your money, and I'm all for it. Not that I have a lot of money. If somebody steals the money from my account, they won't get much at all. But security, yeah. I remember when the chip and pin came out, and everybody said, "Oh, the security is wonderful with chip and pin." We're a lot of rubbish. People still steal money from chip and pins. Or about the card where you can pay up to a certain amount of money. You just wave your card and it'll pay up to 50 quid or something like that. Now, again, the clever little devices that people can just stand behind you, wave their little device at the back pocket or where your wallet is, and deduct money from your card, and you haven't even done it. So chip and pin wasn't the most secure way of looking after your money. So facial recognition, don't have a problem with that. Is it Big Brother keeping an eye on you because you've got facial recognition? Maybe so. But when all's said and done, if you don't have anything to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Just need to sell my house in the UK. Hope to move to Thailand. November, all going well. Being married to a Thai, can get a retirement visa for 400. Yeah, being married to a Thai makes life a little bit easier, but it also can make life a lot more complicated as well, because the cards are stacked in her favor and not your favor. So if you're going to marry, and this is in regard to anybody, if you're going to marry a Thai person, there are certain things that you can do to protect yourself against losing everything. So many people I've talked to here have found a beautiful girl, married them, and lo and behold, this beautiful girl has taken all the money off them, and the house and the car, and they've been left penniless. Now, why do you want to go and do that when there's various things you can do? Prenuptial agreement, if you're going to get married to a Thai person. If she doesn't want to sign a prenuptial, then don't marry her, because the cards are stacked against you over here. So you can take a lawyer's advice and you can protect yourself. You can get a 30-year agreement that you can live on the land that you've bought. You can get an agreement where she can't throw you out the house. There's various ways of covering yourself so you don't lose anything or everything. And that's my advice I would say to anybody and everybody that comes over here, is take legal advice, talk to other people, protect yourself, because when all said and done, if you lose all of that money, it's all gone. You've got no recovery time, because if you're in your 60s, you haven't got the recovery time to get that back again. So look after it as if it's your best little nest egg and you can put it away somewhere. Okay. Change of subject, Les. At 76, I'm doing the same when I was 65, just to give hope to those retiring early, as I think it was the difference for lasting longer. Now, yeah, I 100% agree with you. When we'll all recognize with this, when we were young, 60 was old. Now I'm 62. I don't feel 62. I've got a couple of friends, one's 72 and the other one's 86. The 86-year-old is suffering a little bit, but the 72-year-old guy, he's got better health than me. So I think as far as longevity living's concerned, the less stress you have, the better lifestyle you're going to have. I've got far less stress living here than I ever did in the UK. I live a better life here because money, you get a lot more for your money over here. Just look look at the videos where I'm living now. You'll have seen plenty of the videos. I've done plenty of the cost of living videos here, like 55,000 baht. And I'm buying this house, and I've bought a brand new car, although it's 3 years old now. So you can live a far better life over here. I'm not saying everybody come to Thailand. You don't have to go to Thailand. Just look at a cheaper country, see what value you get for your money. With everything going up in the UK, I mean, we're going about my electricity bill. My electricity bill was 720 baht last month, in probably one of the hottest months of the year. That's like 15 quid, 16 pounds maybe. It's next to nothing, is it? So how much would you be paying to keep yourself hot in the UK on that particular month, April? But that's going on to another subject that somebody has asked. So anyway, I'll get back to my list. You'll never have enough time to retire. What saddens me is the people who kick the bucket, not realizing they could have retired early. Yeah. Now, I was lucky. I really was lucky. And a lot of people slag me off because I retired at 15. I've got a gold-plated pension. And I've got to say, I am lucky. At 19 years old, when I was a young man who was working in the steel industry, and we were on strike at the time, I had no money for 6 weeks. And the strike went on for 13 weeks, and I applied to be a fireman. I never even thought about retirement. At 19-year-old, I just applied for a job. I applied for the police, and I applied for the fire brigade, and the fire brigade came through first. And I joined the fire brigade. No idea about the pensions. No idea what a good pension it was when I joined at 19-year-old. Now, the average lifespan of a firefighter when I joined was 10 years after retirement. So majority of firefighters in them early days, at 60-year-old, you were dead. So anyway, health and safety and improvement equipment, longevity has come with that. And my pension, I retired on my 50th birthday, and I've loved every single minute of it. I've done marvelous things in the 12 years that I've been retired. And I would say to anybody, if you can retire early, retire as early as you can. You can always find the money. You can always find something to do that will bring you the money, but you can never, ever buy back the time. A number of guys that I work with are still working. You know, they had the lump sum, they had the monthly pension, they went back to work because one, they said, oh, I'm bored. And I've got to say, I've never, ever, ever been bored. I've loved every minute of being retired. And I'm 62 now, and I've got emphysema, I've got arthritis. So 66-year-old is like my type of age how I could retire. Could I do all the things I've done for the 12 years from 66 upward? Not a chance. So take retirement as early as you can, because And remember this, you've had more years behind you than you have left in front of you. So if you're 66, let's say you've got 10 years of reasonably good health, that puts you at 76-year-old. How many 76-year-old people are gallivanting all over the place? Why do you want to spend the best years of your life working for somebody else that will replace you within 2 weeks of you leaving? And all this crap about, you're the best guy here, like the job wouldn't survive without you. We're going to sadly miss you when you go. You try to go back after 6 months after you've left the company, it'll be like, I can't really talk to you because we're busy. See you later. You're a cog in a machine, and the machine grinds on. Your cog is being replaced by another cog, and they're not interested. So I would say that's 90% of the places where people work. They'll pat you on the back. What a good chap you've been. What a good lady you've been. Blah, blah, blah. A year later, Les who? Never heard of him. You're gone. Retire as soon as you can. Travel the world. Get some experiences. I learned a fantastic things in life by traveling and meeting other people and talk to other people. I'm still learning now. I still talk to every week. I talk to different people. I meet people every week, and my head's like a sponge. I just take all of this information in. Anyway, we're still going. Okay, right. Let's have a look. Health insurance. Now, this is a good one. I've had so many questions about health insurance and medical insurance and blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm going to give you two stories. I know one guy personally. The other, I got told the story by another guy that came and met me the other week. And I've got no doubt that the story was correct. But the story, the first one that I'm going to give you, is about a guy who I favour the person with little or no money to come and live a good lifestyle here in Thailand. And I help people out like that because Thailand isn't just for the rich or the elite. There's a place here for every budget, whether you just amount. If you just got the right amount of money to live on, like your pension, stuff like that, you can survive here. If you're a multimillionaire, you probably won't even be watching this channel because I don't deal with multimillionaires. And this particular guy didn't have a lot of money. I pointed him in various directions, and long story short, he's almost got there. But if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. And sadly, this guy had an accident the other week, a motorbike accident, with no insurance, no medical insurance. And he's lost 2 toes on his foot because of this accident that he had on the motorbike. So he's another guy, our type of age, my type of age, 62-year-old. I think he's 63. So insurance was, when you've got no money, when you're first starting with everything, because you're dealing with agents to get his visa, blah, 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 and money is just going out and out and out all the time. And although he intended to get some type of insurance, he had an accident before he could get the insurance. So when all's said and done, he's had an accident and he's had a bad motorbike accident. He's lost 2 toes. Thankfully, he didn't lose his life, but he struggled with regard to insurance. This is where brown envelopes were flying about. And thankfully, he's out of hospital now and his medical bills have been paid. And it's through brown envelopes, oiling the transition between having no insurance and having some insurance. So thankfully, he's recovering from that. But I would say the guys that, if you've got the 800,000 baht and you've got pre-existing medical conditions, and this is where I've said to many guys with regard to medical insurance. Now, my medical insurance is due at the end of this month, and I'm thinking it's going to be around 25,000 baht for me because I've got no medical. Well, when I took out my insurance, I had no medical condition, so they've covered me from day one. But arthritis, they don't cover anything for arthritis. But now I've got emphysema. If I change medical companies, emphysema, anything to do with emphysema, it'll be a pre-existing condition. So there's no way I'm going to change my medical insurance anymore because I'm covered also for emphysema. I lost my track a little bit. Yeah, but I'm back on it now. So for those people who've got pre-existing health conditions, but they've got the 800,000 baht, use that as an emergency get out of jail card for medical conditions, because my 25,000 baht a year covers me for 700,000 bahts worth of medical insurance. It's not a lot. It's a sticking plaster for me to get back to the UK if anything serious happens. And I think 700,000 baht, you get a lot of cover, especially if you've got the public hospitals for that amount of money. This guy who lost the 2 toes, which is quite serious, and I think his bill, even in the Bangkok Rayong Hospital, came to less than 100,000 baht, and I've got 700,000. So you get my drift. So use your 800,000 baht to get your visas, because that's the easiest way of getting a visa, and use that as a medical get out of car jail. Because if you've had to use the 800,000 baht, then you can go to an agency the following year and get an agent to carry on getting your visas from then. If you go below the 800 or below the 400,000 that you've got to have. Swings and roundabouts, using whatever you have, not just for your visa, make it for everything. And this is for those people who struggle to get their medical insurance. Because there's lots of people that love to come here, but they say, I can't afford the medical insurance. There's ways and means around everything. And using what you have to get what you want is the best way to do it. So again, that's an easy get round for the medical insurance. Now, also what I would say, and many people overlook this, is that sometimes people over rely on medical insurance. You're going to have a heart attack, you're going to have a stroke, you're going to have this and that and the other. Now, many people live to a ripe old age and never have any of them. But you're more likely to have an accident here in Thailand than you are probably to have a medical condition. Look at the state of the pavements. Look at the state of other people that drive. Again, the guy who had the motorbike accident. So why not look, and it's much, much cheaper than medical insurance, have a look at accident insurance. And at least if accidents, then you're covered for accidents. And you're more likely to have an accident than you are to have a heart attack over here. Which brings me nicely on to the second story that a friend of mine told. This guy, around about my age, found a lovely Thai girl. His life is wonderful, and he thinks, okay, I need to lose a bit of weight, so I'm going to do some exercise. He went out jogging, and he fell over, broke 4 ribs, punctured his lung. Now, thankfully, because this is sort of his early days into Thailand, so he took out travel insurance. Now, thankfully, the travel insurance paid for his punctured lung and his 4 broken ribs, which I think came to about 400,000-500,000 baht, so 8,000 or 9,000 pounds that was. But his travel insurance paid for that. Now, if he didn't have travel insurance or accident insurance, that's a big hit just for having an accident, for falling over and hurting yourself. So have a look at accident insurance. There's plenty of Thai agents that will actually supply you with accident insurance. But it's the same thing again. Once you get a little bit older, it's going to come and cost you a little bit more money. So that's that. Okay, I've gone on to that. Let's go back to the questions on the side. Sorry for those. I'm not ignoring you. It's just there's so many questions I've got on here to get through. And with the questions that are on here, that's why I'm here for a couple of hours or something. So we've been out 40 minutes up to now, and I haven't answered not even 10% of what I've been given on me bit of paper. Great, listen, education to know one person buy rent, what's better? Buying or renting? Now that's sort of a personal choice with regard to buying or rental. Like I said, talking to people, it changed my mind with regard to buying this house or renting it. Other people's views. Now, I'll give an explanation of how it changed my view of everything. This house where we're living in now, we were renting it for 5 years, and we were paying 12,000 baht a month. Now, this other guy that I know was talking to me, and he's married a Thai girl. And the biggest fear that us guys have is that if we get married and we buy a Thai girl the house, after 2 or 3 months, they can just say, on your bike, away you go. And, you know, the house is mine. So, yes, that is the danger. So this guy explained it to me another way. Get the Thai girl to get the loan for the house. So you're paying her the loan for the house, and then she pays the mortgage company or wherever. Or there's ways and means of getting loans. And again, that could cover a whole new subject. But we got private finance to buy this house. So, for instance, if you get private finance to buy your house, and you were paying something similar to what you were paying for rent, if the crap hits the fan after 4 or 5 years, you just walk away because you haven't paid for the house. You've just given the money, monthly money for that amount of time. So in reality, all you've lost is the rental period. You haven't lost, let's say, 3 million baht. 3 million baht over 12 years is about 20,000 baht a month. So if you pay 20,000 baht a month, you're going to be with that person for at least 12 years. So I would say within a year or 2 years, you know for certain whether it's going to work or whether it isn't. So in year 12, I'm sure you've got a better understanding that you're going to be, after year 12, she's not going to turn around and say, listen, on your bike, away you go. Maybe it's in the first 1 or 2 years, which is the danger period for any marriage or relationship. So renting, we were paying 12,000 baht a month to rent this place, and now we're paying 20,000 baht a month, but we're buying it. So the difference is only 8,000 baht a month. Now I can stand the 8,000 baht a month, and at the end of the day, although this is never ever going to be mine, no matter where I bought a house in the world, it was never ever going to be mine anyway, because I'm going to curl my toes up and I'm going to die, as we all are. And you can't take it with you. So for me, buying this house for a little bit more than what it would cost to rent gives security to my wife that when I've gone curl my toes up, because I'm 27 years older than my wife, the likelihood is I'm going to die before she's going to die anyway. So it gives her financial security. If she's looked after me for the best part of 15, 20 years or so, then she deserves something, because I'm going to be a grumpy old bugger, I think, by the time I get to 70 or 80 years old. But that's just a different way of looking upon it. Rent is sort of a waste of money, but the good thing with rent, if you've got pesky neighbours and you don't like them, then you can move. Whereas if you buy somewhere and you've got pesky neighbours, you can't move. Swings and roundabouts. It's whatever suits you best at the end of the day. Right. How will I get NHS prescription drugs or pre-existing conditions when I moved over next year? I can acquire from the pharmacies in Thailand, but need a prescription. I have many issues. Okay, now I can answer this one, because there's been a couple of people who asked me these questions. And some of the drugs that this particular person was on is some serious drugs that he needed to keep him alive. And we went to the various pharmacies. They said, no. We went to the hospital. We talked to the pharmacy, talk to the horse's mouth, if you like, at the pharmacy in the hospital. And through translations, because my wife talked to them and asked them the questions, what they said, you can get any drugs that you're on over here, but you also need to see a doctor over here and explain to him why you're on this particular drug. And then once he gives the prescription for the drugs that you're already on, then it's no problem. You can get it from the pharmacies, because now you've got a doctor's note from a Thai doctor who will say, yes, you need these drugs. So yes, it can be done. You've got to jump through a few more hoops over here, but it is possible you can do it. You can go to the hospital, go and see one of the doctors, and that will get all sorted for you. So yes, the answer is you can get the drugs over here, no matter what you are on. And also there's sort of a Thai equivalent. So if you get the Thai equivalent, chances are it's going to be much cheaper than the brand name drugs. So go and see your doctor. Don't be scared to go and see your doctor. It might cost you a little bit of money in the first, but that's better than dying because you don't have the drugs. That's my answer with regard to getting the drugs over here, what you want, because everything's possible over here. How much would that 800 baht depreciate against the pound based against your experiences, Les? Yeah. I would suggest nobody puts the 800,000 baht in the bank over here, because yes, it will depreciate. Now, that comes on one of the other questions that I've got on here is with regard to the living costs over here. When I'm going to go a little bit back about this, and everybody's going, oh yeah, in the good old days, 70 baht and 65 baht. I lived here in the good old days. Well, I came here in the good old days when it was 65 baht to the pound. I was also here in the bad days of Brexit when it plummeted down to 37 baht. 37 baht from 52. That's a massive drop. And I've got to say, when I seen the drastic cliff edge fall of the pound against the baht, the day we left the European Union, it made my heart sink, because it went down from 51 to 45, down to 40, down to 37. And now we're hovering over at 42, which is still scandalous in comparison to what it was. And it's took me, since Brexit, to crawl my way back up to like a decent amount of money with the interest rises and inflation rises and things like that. So I'm probably on par now than what I was the day we left Brexit, even though it's only less than 43 baht to the pound. But for every baht, it's about 12 quid a month or something like that. But in its worst days, I was £300 a month worse off because of Brexit. Only and utterly because of Brexit. £300 a month, and you just never recover from that. So all my extra money that I had is just gone as far as exchange rates concerned. And now we're 42 baht, possibly nearly, 42.70, I think it was the other day. But, and this is a big but, and this is why I still say it's cheaper to live here, the rent for this place, if you take it as it was at 12,000 baht a month, so less than £300 a month just for rent. Where would you get something like this for £300 a month in England? The answer is you wouldn't. Council tax 150 quid. So council tax, there's no council tax over here. You pay your rent and that's it. So £300. The electricity, okay, some people are paying 7,000 baht a month for electricity for the air conditioning unit, but that's still only 140 quid, 150 quid maybe. And that's everybody using the air conditioning. You just calm down a little bit, like mine's 15 quid a month. So let's go in, sort of in between, £100 a month for electricity over here. That's 5,000 baht or so. That's far, far cheaper still, the electricity, than it is in the UK. So just rent, no council tax, and electricity, irrespective of everything else. Food prices over here, they've gone up a little bit with inflation type of thing, but it's still far, far cheaper to eat here than it is to eat in the UK. If you're eating Western food, it's going to be much, much more expensive over here. But if you eat Thai food, I mean, you still get Thai food for £1.20, £1.50 for a meal. It's much, much cheaper to live here than it is to live in the UK. And as far as the stability of the banks are concerned, who knows? I'm not a banker or a financial expert, But over here, the banks will guarantee the first $1 million baht of your money. So anything over $1 million, if a bank goes or collapses, if you've got over $1 million, then just kiss goodbye to it. I think it's £80,000 in the UK. So that's why I say don't, because if you put your 800,000 baht in the bank over here, you're almost to the $1 million baht anyway. So just keep your money where you know it's secure in your home country, because there's other ways of doing it. Why put 800,000 when you, because you need money to live on over here anyway. So if you've got living on 65,000, you qualify for the benefits anyway, for the 65,000 baht a month retirement visa. Super 8 Rescue. My rent and council tax on a 1-bedroom flat in the UK is £850. Woo. Now, I know guys over here who are getting the £800 a month on the state pension, and they live a decentish life, well, better than a bedsit life in the UK on £800. He has his, he likes his beer, so he's drinking virtually every day. Not a lot, but he drinks virtually every day. And he has, let's say, his entertainment on every weekend. So he has entertainment on the weekend, drinking, living in a beautiful location, 2 minutes walk to the beach on £800 a month. Tell me who can do that in England. My electric and gas is £300 a month. Wow. Yeah. That's the rent for this place, £300 a month. PT just put my internet up to £67 a month mid-contract. The internet here, I think I pay 400 baht, so less than a tenner a month, something like that. So that's not a lot of money, is it? A tenner a month. Council tax 210 plus 240 for gas and electric a month. You get, almost £500 a month. £500 a month. So where would my £1,200, £1,300 a month go to if I lived in the UK? What type of lifestyle could I have for £1,200 or £1,300? I think there's not many good possibilities on £1,200 a month in the UK. Council tax on my house is £3,800 per annum. And if you don't even live there, you've still got to pay it. And if you don't live in that house for 2 years, it doubles the cost. Banks are falling all over. Money is probably safer under your mattress. Yeah, but you get a lumpy mattress if you have too much underneath there. I mean, let's look at the American. I think 3 American banks have gone under, and the Swiss bank. Who would have thought the Swiss bank would go under? That was sort of respected as one of the most stabilized banks in the world, and that went under. So I think the world's economy, all the rich people, well, not the rich people, but all the elite people who are telling us what we should be doing with everything, it's like a game of poker. They're all bluffing, and now people have put the hand in the banks because they can't bluff anymore. And I honestly believe the whole world is like that at the minute. It's a big, big poker game. And the Americans and the Europeans and the British are playing a very, very serious game of poker. And somebody's going to lose, and it's going to be us. The working class people will end up paying for it again like we did in 2008. And we're still paying for everything now. I did a video, you've probably seen it, about that guy from the Bank of England saying that we all should now accept we're going to be poor. Now, we sort of accepted it in 2008, and it was the bankers and the financial people who put us in that mess in the first place. And 12 years later, we're still paying for it. And we're still being told, we should accept we're going to be poor. But how many multi-billionaires have been made on the profits of all of this stuff? And do they dish it out, help other people out? No, they don't. But I've always been poor, always will be poor. And if I had a lot of money, I'd give it away anyway, helping other people. So anyway, I nearly an hour now, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you very much. All right, let's have a look. Do you know someone that can help us get a Thai driving license in Rayong? A Thai driver's license. Okay. Yes, there's a few people. It's not in Rayong, but it's not too far. Pattaya. If you go to Pattaya, there's a place called MOTS, like MOT, and they do visas, they do bank accounts, they do driver's licenses and things like that. They do a multitude of everything, and I would go to them. There's been a couple of adverts on Facebook and things like that saying we will get you the Thai license. You don't even have to go for the test. Somebody will do the test for you. They're scams. They're just not going to work. If somebody says you don't have to do the test, then it's a scam. You've got to do the test. You've got to sit through the 1 hour video, and you've got to go there. And just even if you have a motorbike license, it still takes the best part of a day to get your Thai driver's license. And let's face it, if you're retired over here, you've got all the time in the world. So spending a day getting your Thai driver's license, do it properly. This company, I think it's 4,500 baht, and they'll guide you through it and get you your license. MOTS service, I think it is in Pattaya. Just Google it, MOT and MOTS in Pattaya, and you'll get it. Normally, when I answer, I can send a picture of the site, but I can't do it because I'm doing live stream now. They will get you a driver's license. They will get you a bank account opened. Very, very good service that I've heard from them. So yeah. I would say the safest way is to keep your savings in physical Thai baht gold than in the UK or Thai baht. Yeah, until your girlfriend decides to spend the Thai gold that you've saved, or you put underneath your bed and she's found out where it is, and then you try to find out where she is with your Thai baht gold. Nothing is 100% safe, I don't think. Yeah, Super 8 Rescue, I've heard many good things about MOTS. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to go see the guy in the next couple of weeks. I've got a couple of things that I want to have a word with him, because sadly, Key Visa, Darren died, and I had a few things going with him, and one of them was the Elite Visa workaround, should say, and we had a thing going together with the Elite Visa. So now I'm going to go and see MOTS, because I don't think Key Visa is open anymore. I've made a few phone calls and the phone just goes dead or is dead. So I don't know whether Key Visa is open anymore or it's been taken over by somebody else and he's changed all the numbers. But I need to go and speak to a few of these guys, because now I've got a few people who are interested in various types of visas and things like that. Now, majority of people can sort the visas out themselves. It's not difficult. But I also understand that some people don't want to mess around with all the paperwork, and they'll use a visa agent. Now, I like to speak to the person or the people that I send people to, and I know 100% that if I'm sending people to these people, they're 100% legitimate, and they're not going to get scammed, and they're not going to get turned over. So I like speaking face to face, and I get my feeling and feeling of people that I'm sending people to. So that's why I'm going to go and see him the next couple of weeks or so. Mr. Who I went from 94 kilos to 71 kilos living in Thailand, 6 months eating Thai food. Oh, well done. Usually people put weight on coming here and eating Thai food. Because, I like that. I'll answer this one in a minute. How about the medical for driving license? Is it tough? I'll tell you how tough it is in a minute. Because Thai food, they put sugar in absolutely everything. Every time you go to get Thai food, there's sugar in it. They put sugar in absolutely everything. Anyway, going on to the medical for the driving license. Is it tough? It's about as tough as it gets. You can go and see the doctor and the receptionist and ask them for a certificate because you're going to go for a driving license. And if you're lucky, you'll actually go and see the doctor. And he'll look at you, and because you've walked through the door, you're still alive, so he'll give you your certificate, say that you're okay. If you're unlucky, and it's 200 baht to get the doctor's certificate, and if you're unlucky, the receptionist will stamp it and sign it for you, and away you go with your letter to say yes, you're still alive and you're okay for a driver's license. But if you've got problems with being a colour blindness or reaction test, because when you go for your renewal of your driver's license, there is a bit of a thing that you've got to go and do, and it's a colour blindness test. And there's a big chart with orange, green, reds, and the point, and you've got to tell them it's orange, green, or reds. Now, I'm surprised at how many people are actually colourblind. But if you're colourblind over in this country, you ain't going to get a license because you're colourblind. Which doesn't stop people in the UK or America, I believe, to getting a driver's license because they're colourblind. But over here, if you're colourblind, you ain't going to get a license. Then there's a reaction test. You sit on a contraption with a brake pedal and an accelerator pedal. When you see the red lights come on, you hit the brake. And you get 3 chances at that. And then you've got two posts going, and you've got to stop the post so that it's a distance judgmental thing. Now, I was always scared of that because I've got monovision because I had a laser work done on one eye and the other eyes. So I've got one short distance eye, now one long distance eye. Now that gives you a problem as far as judging where the 2 posts are, but even I passed that, so that's not too difficult. And then there's a test for that's it, 3 tests. Oh, the peripheral test. You have to see when you're looking into a thing, you can see a red light or a green light. You say left, right, whatever. It's not difficult to do. And for those people who are taking the motorcycle test, the practical test, that takes all of 2 minutes to do. You're driving and the instructor can see you. The hardest thing, there's a little strip and it's about 10 meters long and you've got to stay on this strip without coming off it. That's the hardest part of the motorcycle practical test. You've got to take the 1 hour video, which is all about health and safety in the roads and the road. Yeah, that's if you've already got a Thai. If you've already got a motorcycle license, then you're upgrading it to a Thai motorbike license. If you're doing the whole test from day one, then you've got to take the road safety test and the exam and things like that. But there's even agencies out there for 2,500 baht. They'll give you all the questions and all the answers. So you just read the book, all the questions, all the answers. You go and do your test, blah, 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 blah. And if you can't do that, you can pay somebody that'll sit next to you and tell you what to put. So getting a driver's license over here isn't difficult. No matter what you do, it can be done. Mr. Dan, 170k at 55 is not enough unless you have other sources of income. In my opinion, might last 10 years if you're frugal. £170,000. If 17 months, 170 months at £1,000 a month. 170 months. That's quite a lot of years. Yeah. And bearing in mind that 170,000, if you've got it invested, you can earn some money anyway. But I would say there's always a way of making money. Always a way of making money. But what you can't buy back is time. So getting back onto my argument with regard to retiring as soon as you can, because I retired at 50 and I've loved every year of it. I could not buy them 12 years to add on to my life, if you like. If I retired at 66, I can't say, well, I want another, can I buy them 12 years extra that I've worked to put on the end of my life? No, you can't, because it just isn't going to happen. So you can always make money. I've done little bits and pieces online. I'm going to make another video with regard to making money online. Everybody says how easy it is, and believe me, it isn't easy. Nowhere is it easy. All of these shiny object syndromes, all of these people, you can make $10,000 a month. I'm looking at making £100 or $100 a month, and I'm struggling to do that. So these people who say you can make $10,000, what a load of poop it is. I bought loads of programs in my experience to try and teach others or show others how crazy it is. But the only money that I've spent is been on money back guarantees, where they'll give you your money back if it doesn't work, which is a credit to them in the first place to offer a money back guarantee. But even then, it's difficult to get your money back on majority of things. And when I do the other video, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of doing this. And believe you me, it is not easy to make things or make money online. Everybody shows you the golden goose. This golden goose here, they'll give you a lot of money every month, but they don't tell you what you need to feed it to make the golden eggs every month. But they'll charge you lots of money talking about the golden goose, how you need to look after the golden goose, how you need to treat the golden goose, but they won't tell you what you have to feed it to give you the golden eggs. And if there is somebody out there who wants to actually tell me and show me a way, I'd be more than happy to pay somebody to say, listen, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah. And the people that say they're going to teach you all of these things, load of rubbish. The cheapest thing that I bought was $10. The most expensive program I bought was $600. And I've gone everything in between them. And I've got to say, only one of them is probably, it was worth the money, just for the information that it gives you. But a lot of it is just load of rubbish, load of rubbish, load of rubbish. But for those people who are retired, you've got the time to do it, so you can do it. And there is ways and means of doing everything, but that's for another, so that's another video. Medical for driver's licenses. Do you have a pulse? Yeah, you passed. Yeah, you've walked with it. If you're unlucky, you're going to see the doctor. If you're really unlucky, the receptionist will give you one. At 68-year-olds, he will get the UK state pension. Oh, John the accountant has got loads and loads of useful advice. So John the accountant is a good guy to subscribe to and ask him various questions. Financially wise, he's the bee's knees. I like when he answers some of my questions. He's very, very methodical in his answering, and he's very, very good. And you can send me the £10 later for that, John. I'm joking. Mike Shuailes, love your streams, very informative. I arrive next weekend and just typical Thai elections closing all the bars. It's only closed for a day. Anywhere in Pattaya or Bangkok, get a few beers. It's like we're going out next weekend, 13th, Saturday the 13th, I think it is, from 6 p.m. until Sunday, 6 p.m. So it's only for a day. But they do take that serious. So you can buy a few beers yourself and drink it at home, wherever. But a friend of mine's having a birthday party on the 14th. So everybody can drink after 6 o'clock on the night. So might not be able to drink all day, but on 6 o'clock on the 14th, they can drink and the bars are open. But they have many days like the Buddha days and religious days and things like that where you can't drink. And it's amazing how many coffee cups come out during this period. If you like drinking coffee, it's like me. I'm drinking a Leo in a coffee cup. But this could be also one of the normal Leos in a coffee cup. there's many ways of getting around the system. And of course, some of the bar owners send a few brown envelopes at this time of year as well. Payments, I missed that. What type of wildlife and birds, etc., do you see in your garden? Love your tropical plants. Thank you very much. As I say, my wife looks after the plants, but there's many more flowers and beautiful flowers that we're going to have to get into. Now, many people mention the bird songs that's in my videos when I do it, and we're surrounded by trees here, and we've got lots of birds. We've got hummingbirds, we've got kingfishers, we've got normal sparrows, and we've got multitudes of little finches and that. And our neighbour out the back has got a couple of parakeets and things like that. So the bird songs here are fantastic. I get up in the morning, 7 o'clock, have me a cup of coffee on that sofa there, and just listen to the birds. It's wonderful. It's such a wonderful location as far as wildlife is concerned. Yeah, we do get snakes occasionally. We've had a couple in the house. I've seen a couple of monitor lizards. Somebody said about because we live in the country, they're sick of listening to the cockerels and the dogs. You can't get away from that. Cockerels are everywhere in Thailand, apart from in the cities, of course. And cockerels and dogs barking, you'll get them all of the time. You're never going to get away from them totally. So you've just got to accept it. That's just the way it is. John's having a bit of a private conversation there. The various things. Making a decision on your pension soon. Is it better to take the biggest lump sum and smaller monthly income, or smaller? Again, pensions is a sort of personal thing. Take all the advice, what people give you, and then you've got to make your own decision and live by that decision. But I would say, my own personal opinion, of course, spend it all. Spend it as much as you can, because at the end of the day, you've worked hard for it. I'll be happy if and when I am going to die one day. We're all going to die one day. I'd like to owe the bank £1, and if I owe the bank £1, it means I've spent all my money, and it's good. But I've taken care of my wife. She gets looked after with my pensions and things like that. We're buying the house, so financially wise, she's going to be okay. But I've also got friends who count the zeros in their bank book every month, and they've been nowhere and done nothing. Now, when I'm on my deathbed, or that sofa there, when I can't go anywhere else, I've got a head full of memories of where I've been, what I've done, not a bank book full of zeros. And I would sooner have a head full of memories than a bank book full of zeros. Okay, going on to another question here. What do I miss about the UK living here as an expat? The honest answer is nothing. I don't miss nothing about being in the UK. Everything that I want and need is here. Cockerels, dogs, motorbikes, noisy motorbikes. Everything I want and need is here. I'm not a bar person. I'm not a big drinker. I like the countryside. I always liked the countryside in England as well, but I could never afford to live in the countryside. Here, I live in the countryside. I'm 5 minutes drive from the beach. I've got a nice car that we drive around. I've got a motorbike that we can just tootle around in. My wife's got a motorbike and sidecar, Sam Law. She's out today selling sausages on the seafront, not because she has to, because she wants to. She felt the need that she needed to do something, and she goes out and makes 400 or 500 baht a day doing that. Keeps her happy because she talks with the Thai people, and I can do this. I do me editing and me live streams occasionally on a weekend. So it's getting that balance right with yourself and your partner. We live 24/7. She's not a drinker either. She doesn't drink alcohol. So we have our times, we have our moments. Everybody will argue every now and then. But I've got to say, my life at the minute is rosy, far better than it was in the UK, or far better than I perceive it could be in the UK, living on the money that I've got. I've been retired since 50 years old. Could I have retired in the UK at 50? No, couldn't. I couldn't live on that amount of money when I was 50-year-old. And even now at 62-year-old, I couldn't get a job. Who wants to employ a 62-year-old that's got medical problems? Nobody. So therefore, I'd struggle to get a job, although there's supposedly a big jobs market available for those people in England. No, in reality, no. I don't have to work here. I can live on the amount of money that I've got. Who would choose to work if they didn't have to work? Just look for somewhere in the world that's cheaper than where you're living now, and better conditions. Some people would miss the family. I understand that. Sadly, I've got a bad relationship with my two daughters. We fell out. Well, that's I've done some videos with regard to that. My ex-wife poisoned my two children against me. The only people who say I'm a really bad person is my kids, and anybody else that knows me thinks I'm quite a reasonable guy. So is everybody else wrong and my two kids right? Who knows? But as far as my kids are concerned, they're right. I'm not a very nice man. But the door's always open. If they want to come back into my lifestyle, then they can. It's been a lot of years. Sadly, some divorces end up like that, and you've just got to move on. Just don't let it bother you. Your life is important also. All right, let's have a look at another one. Realistic considerations. Now, this is another good one. Realistic considerations. As you can imagine, I meet some varied and wonderful and not so wonderful people doing this. And I met one guy who was in his 70s looking for a Thai partner. He had no money, but he wanted a Thai partner that had her own house, had her own car, and didn't want any money from him. And he didn't have a lot of money. So I said to him, in reality, I said, there's not many Thai women with their own house and car looking for a broke foreigner to live with them, especially a broke foreigner who was in his 70s. So being realistic, living here. Money is king over here, as money is king anywhere in the world. Let's face it, if I have nothing in the UK, who wants me? What woman would want me I could be the nicest person in the world, but if I've got no money, nobody wants you. Love doesn't pay the bills. And I've got to say the same thing is in Thailand. But Thailand, you can get a lot more for your money, if you like. And it all comes down to money. If you have nothing over here, nobody wants you over here either. And obviously, as the criteria goes, if you've got a pension, then you've got a little bit of swayability, if you like. If you can give them something else, then, you're going up the pecking order. But I'm under no illusions whatsoever that Thailand is a money-orientated place that we live in. There are some guys that live here who don't give the wives or girlfriends anything. The wives or girlfriends have got a job, blah, blah, blah. But the majority of guys that are living here, one way or another, are supporting their wives. And as long as you can get your head around that supportability is that you will be ending up paying for something. You will not be a girl who loves you 100% and wants to take care of after you for free, for nothing. That is absolutely never going to happen. And I've never met anybody that has happened to. So being realistic also. If you're a big guy, big fat guy, old guy with no teeth and no hair, you can still get fixed up with a girl over here, but it's going to cost you a lot more money. So have a look in the mirror, be realistic as to what you're looking for. If you're just looking for a good time, you can have a good time here. But if you're looking for somebody to settle down with, do your homework. And like I said earlier on in this live stream, with regard to take precautions against losing everything, because you can lose everything very, very quickly over here. But if you look after you and your finances, then you can live here quite happily for a long, long, long time, and not a lot of money. Can you choose your friends? You can't choose your family. Yep, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Thanks, Les. It's reassuring to know that you've got everything you want in life within Thailand. It comes down to what you're happy with. Do I struggle with the Thai language? Of course I do. I can't speak Thai. I've been here for 12 years. I've tried and tried, but I can't speak Thai. So if we go out in a group of people, and we have a big social group, and we go out on the beach, and I have no idea what the Thai people are. I know the odd one or two words, but I couldn't have a conversation with a Thai group of people. Impossible. And some of them Thai people couldn't have a conversation with me. So I admire the Thai people who can speak English or French or German. And the Thai people are very good at learning languages. That's one thing I found. But I had the same experience in France. I was going to build a house in France, and I lived in the countryside. I was going to build the house, and then I met a guy who could speak fluent French, although he was English. And he's asked me, did the next door neighbour talk to you? I said, no. I said, only French. He said, she can speak fluent English, but she just chooses not to speak English. So that's in France. And he said, although I can speak French fluently, I'll never be a part of the village. He said, because they don't include me in anything, even though I can speak fluent French. So I think that's the stage in, like, same with Spain. I mean, how many places in Spain was like Little England, because the English expats just want to be, they don't want to immerse with the Spanish and things like that. And the Spanish do have a derogatory name for us Brits. So it happens everywhere in the world. But I get by here. Is it perfect? No, it isn't perfect. But I don't think you'll ever find a place that's perfect. But you can get by here without speed, pointing, pressing. And now you've got the phones that can do that. You speak into the phone and it'll translate wherever it is. So technology, within the next 5 years, you'll be able to speak into a phone or a device, and it'll just translate everything you want to hear, and it'll translate it back. So technology will be able to do that in the future years. I am 100% sure about that. Apparently, the simple act of taping 1,000 baht note to one's forehead can make one very attractive to the Thai lady. Yeah. It brings me back to a little story that I had in Phuket with a timeshare guy. Me and my Chinese wife, when we were traveling around the world, we came to Thailand and we went to Phuket. And I'd never, ever visited one of these timeshare places. So I was always like, fill a day in, let's go and have a look. And they showed us some beautiful apartments, this timeshare guy. And it was run by some famous golfer. I have no idea who he was. And this guy was trying to remember, oh, he's so-and-so, this golfer. He's one of the top golfers in the world. You must know. I said, no, I don't play golf. I have no idea. Oh, well, you must have heard. I said, no, I never heard of him. So it took me to these beautiful places. And I've got to say, take my hat off to him. Beautiful. And then they took us to Patong. And I remember it because it was down the red light part, and it sort of went off it, and they showed us this apartment, and everything was done in leather, Bose sound systems and things like that. It was just like, wow. But you were right in the thick of it, in Patong. And he said, and if you really want to impress the ladies, he said, we can charter you a boat, he said, to take the ladies out. And just what you said there about taping 1,000 baht. And I said to him, as long as you've got a 1,000 baht note sticking out of your ass pocket, you'll attract any girl in here. You don't need any boats to attract any of the girls. Oh, he said, you know the system then? I said, yeah, I know the system. Anyway, we were never going to buy or rent this apartment. It was just silly. It was a day which I'd never repeat again, because they just badge you and badge you and badge you all day. And it wasn't worth it at all. But it's an experience. It's one of them things I can tick it on my bucket list. Yeah, I've been having a look at it, timeshare apartments and that. Load of rubbish. Great comedy, Les. Sensible, wise, good-humoured and on the point. Thank you very much, Craig. Hi, Les. I have one of the office type water coolers under 200 baht for 10 large containers. Find out works it's cheaper than buying bottled water, even though you have to pay for electric. Yeah, we have the big 20 litres of water in the bottles, and it works out at 15 baht. It's gone up from 12 baht to 15 baht now for 20 litres of water. And we drink that. We put that in the plastic bottles and put it in the fridge, and we drink it. And again, I'm still alive, and I've been here for 12 years, so it doesn't kill you. The bottled water, it's just convenient. We buy the little packs of bottled water, and especially it's hot now. If anybody comes to our house now, we'll give them a bottle of water or something, and it's just nice that they can click it open and know it's sealed, and whereas we put it in our plastic bottles, they're not sealed. So that's what we do. We just have bottled water for convenience. Okay, so let's have a look at another question. We've talked about the medical and accident insurance. We've talked about the visas. We've talked about the value of the pound. Oh yeah, the visa multi-entries. This is what a couple of people have asked as well. The multi-entry. Now you can come here and you can get a normal visa without a single entry or a multi-entry. So you just come and you just get your visa, and that's it. And if you want to go to, say, Vietnam or Laos or Cambodia or something like that, and you do not get a re-entry stamp or re-entry visa, your visa is null and void. So if you get a normal O-type visa and you want to go and visit another country, you have to get at least a single entry visa, which is now, I'm just looking on the internet today, it used to be 1,000 baht, but I've read it today that it's 2,000 baht now for a single entry or re-entry visa. Now you can get a multi-entry visa for 5,000 baht. And I know some guys who have been down to the agents, and the agents have said, yeah, we'll give you a multi-entry stamp. And if you're not leaving the country, it's 5,000 baht wasted. So for me, if you're going to go out of the country 3 times in 1 year, then it's worth getting a multi-entry visa, because then that saves you 1,000 baht. But if you only go out once or twice, you just need to get the multi-entry, the single entry visa, which is 2,000 baht. So that gets you out and it gets you back in, gets you out for 2. But it's important, the difference between the single entry and the double entry or multiple entry visas. Now, there's some people went on a cruise and only got a single entry visa. And they flew to Singapore, went on a cruise, and it called at Koh Samui. Well, they've been to Koh Samui so many times, so they didn't get off the ship. They stayed on the ship thinking, oh, well, because we've been to Koh Samui, they won't stamp the passport. But the ship took all the passports, and as a matter of fact, they just expected everybody that got off the boat went to Koh Samui. But they stayed on the ship. And when they got the passport back, and they already stamped the single entry stamp. So now they were entering Thailand again with that stamp already used. So in effect, they lost their retirement or visa because they'd used up the multi-entry. And once they returned back to Thailand, they lost their pension, they lost their O visa. So they had to reapply again. And they complained and they said about it, and the boat said, we just did it en masse, and we didn't know he was dead on the boat. So it's not our fault. So, yeah. Just be careful about single entry and multi-entry visas. Hello, Bill Simpson. Hello there. So John's having a good conversation here with pension wisers, but John's a clever guy with pensions and that, and well, he's an accountant. Yeah, accountants are always good with dealing with money. Do you have to be back every 90 days for signing immigration? No, you don't. Once you leave the country, your 90 days starts again the day you come back. So the day you come back, 90 days later, that's when you reapply. That's when you do your 90-day stamp again. So no, you don't have to come back within that 90 days. But if you get a single entry or re-entry permit, then you've got to use that within 3 months, because it's only got a 3-month limit on it. So you go down and say, I might be traveling, July, August or September, and they'll write it in. It's got to be used within 3 months of the date that they issue it with. And if you don't use it within them 3 months, then it's void anyway. But no, your 90 days reporting starts on the day you come back to Thailand. That's on both the single entry and multi-entry. Good question. You may have covered the topic, but in Singapore, where we reside, the rents have gone up by as much as 80% in the past year or two. Have the rents risen dramatically in the Thai regional centres? The rents have shot up in Phuket, because that's where a lot of the Ruskies have decided to avoid going to war, and they're living around Phuket. And in general, there I think 2,500 to 3,000 Russians a day coming into Thailand. Now, I don't know how they're getting over the visa situation, because in reality, they can only come for the 30-day tourist visa as well. But the rents have shot up in Phuket, and the house prices have shot up in Phuket. And that's only going to go outwards from Phuket to various other places. There's a lot more Russians around here as well in Rayong. But yeah, the Russians coming here, and eventually the Chinese are going to start coming here again. So that will up the rents to a certain extent. But you can still, around here, between 10,000 and 20,000, you can get a good property over here in Rayong. But for me, Phuket was always expensive anyway. It's stunningly beautiful around there. But once you've lived there for a number of years, the beauty is just lost on you because you've seen it every day. But when you go on a holiday, it's stunningly beautiful. So I live in Rayong, which isn't a tourist location. And it's just like the normal everyday people live here. But I'm not far away. I'm an hour and 20 minutes away from Pattaya, 2.5, 3 hours away from Bangkok, 3 hours away from Koh Chang, 30 minutes away from Koh Samet Island. So in my mind, I'm traveling distance to some beautiful places around Thailand. and everything because of living here is much, much cheaper. I mean, in Phuket, I think the beer starts at about 100 baht a bottle. The BART bus is 200 baht every time you get on it, whether you do 100 meters or you go around in a full circle, it's 200 baht. In Pattaya, you can still get from Jomtien to the Dolphin Roundabout for 10 baht. And that could take an hour for 10 baht. But in Phuket, it's 200 baht. Same with Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai, it's for their BART bus system, it's still more expensive than it is in let's say, Pattaya. Swings and roundabouts. But look at where the Russians are going. Wherever the Russians are going, go away from there because prices are just going to rise. There's going to be lots of trouble, I think, in Phuket because of the Russians. The Russians apparently have got their own rental agencies, they've got their own taxis, they've got their own offices. There's a lot of brown envelopes floating around in Phuket, and there's going to be a lot of argumentative people with regard to taking Thai jobs and things like that. So there might well be a little bit of unrest in that location. I think that's why, also my own personal opinion, that's why it's more difficult to get a Thai bank account now on a tourist visa, is to stop the other people putting their money or money laundering through Thai bank accounts. But that's my own personal opinion. Yeah, the multi-entry visas, that will help me no end. Thanks for the gem of information. You're more than welcome. How did the poor air quality affect you recently? I assume it's over now. Yeah, it's a lot better now. I mean, I've got to say, in the last week or so, I have had a bad cough. So much so that we absolutely scoured the bedroom. We just took everything out of the bedroom, hoovered any dust, washed all the walls and that, because I thought, because I've got emphysema now, and I thought it's that's affecting my lungs. But in reality, we do it every 2 weeks. Give the bedroom a really good, because we've got the fans and they'll blow the dust around while I'm sleeping. So we did that. But there was one stage, I mean, Koh Samet isn't that far away from us, but the mist or the fog or the air pollution, you couldn't see Koh Samet. So the air pollution, I think, did affect me for a week or 2 weeks. But it's much, much better now. Everything seems to be getting back to normal and the air pollution's gone. But up in Chiang Mai, that type of area, it's bad for 3 months of the year. I think we've just had a little taste of it, and I didn't like it. So I couldn't live like that if I had to live up in Chiang Mai, because it did affect me, and I was coughing, and I'm still coughing a little bit now, but it's better than it was 2 weeks ago. So yeah, the air pollution did affect me to a certain extent. If you pay £600 per annum for 800k emergency health insurance, is it going to cost 6,000 over 10 years in premiums? Right. If you pay £600 per year for 800,000 emergency health insurance, is it going to cost? Yeah, yeah. But for me, how I look upon it, I don't have the 800,000 to put in a bank account. That's why I'm on a marriage visa, because you need a lot less money. And if I did go the retirement visa wise, I'd pay I can do the 65,000, but I haven't got the 800,000. So I'm in a different position. So I can't do that. But it's much more easy for me to find the 25,000 baht a year premium for 700,000 bahts worth of cover. And I know it's going to go up as the years go on. But when I get to my pension age, within a couple of years, I could have 800,000 baht saved up and put it into a bank account, and use that as an emergency fund. So say when I get to 70-year-old, and the insurance premiums become unaffordable, if you like. So there's method in me madness, swings and roundabouts, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. It's just playing around with everything, playing around with what you have. And if you don't have it, for me, it's much more easy to get 25,000 baht than to find 700,000 or 800,000 baht. That's for me. But for those people who have the 800,000 baht and they have poor medical conditions, then that's the easiest option for them to go, is do it that way. So have a look with what you've got, play around, look at all the options, and play around with what you have. That's my advice for that. All right. Everything in Thailand will become more expensive. It's happening already. Yeah, everything's going up in price, but there's nowhere in the world that the prices is going down. Everywhere is going up. So, but inflation in England still is at 10%. And I believe inflation in Thailand is 4 or 5%. So if it's 60 baht, say £1 for ease of working out, for £1.20, that's the cost of a meal. So if that only goes up 5%, because it's £1.20, it's not a lot of money to go up, is it? It's nothing percentage-wise. But if it went up 10% and that meal costs £5, like it does in England, 10% of £5 is a lot more of 5% of £1.20. So percentage-wise, do that with a rent, with a insurance for the cars and things like that. Add it all up. It's still, even if it goes up at 5% here, it's still far cheaper than the 10% is going up as it is in England. So yeah, you're never going to get away with things are always going to go in that direction. They're very rare they come back down. At 70, they have me paying 104,000 Thai baht for full coverage, but it stops at 80 years old. Yeah, well, yeah, 104, couple of thousand. That's still not too bad, really, is it? For 70-odd-year-old. Nobody wants old people. But I've done an ebook about getting old. Don't worry, because it doesn't last for very long, and it doesn't. Talking of ebooks, and I'll do a little plug for me here, is I've done a number of ebooks and various things, and have a look at my Etsy store. So hang on, it's your life store. It's your lifestyle.etsy.com. Now I've done a few ebooks. I must have given away over 200 ebooks in the time that I've been doing the ebooks. People, I've given away free ebooks. So because there is some value in the ebooks and some good information that I give, I put them on an Etsy store. I've done various other things. So I've opened up a little Etsy shop. It costs nothing to open the Etsy shop, and it costs 20 cents to list them for 4 months. So I've just sort of opened that and putting the ebooks for sale on Etsy shop. But what I'm offering for those people who want the ebooks, because people have said, what ebooks have you got? I haven't got really a site to say, well, have a look, and I've got this and this and this and this. I've opened up an Etsy shop. So for those people who are interested in the ebooks that I've got, and every week I'm putting more and more on there. So have a look at the Etsy shop. And if you want, I'll do a deal here that you can get 2 books. Look at the ebooks that you would like, and then I can actually do a deal with it. If you buy me a cup of coffee for $3, I'll send you the 2 Etsy books that you want. from the shop. And that's one way of showing people these are the ebooks that I've got. And if you want them, email me, say, Les, I've seen the books on Etsy. I like this one and this one. And then I'll send you the ebooks. And I'll send you the ebooks first. And then send me $3 on my coffee link. Buy me a cup of coffee link. And that helps the channel out. And it also helps, you out, because you get some information for very, very cheap. And it's cheaper than buying it from Etsy. I also do a consultation service for $10 for an hour or 2 hours conversation with people. And if anybody wants to have a conversation with me and ask any questions with regard to what they want to know, and if I can't give you the answers you want, then you don't pay. So you talk to me first for an hour or 2 hours, as long as it takes, and it's just $10. And if I don't give you the answers that you want, then you don't even pay. And that's the same thing, buying me a cup of coffee. And I've noticed now there's a few other Thai vloggers doing these things, and at $10, I think I'm by far the cheapest. There's some other guys charging $45, and I've seen one guy charging $500 for an hour's conversation with him. $500. Oh, a dream of that. But $10, that's my price. Bargain basement, $12, and you'll get the same information that you'd pay $500 for. Same information, and guarantee the fact that if you don't get the information, you don't even have to give me the $10. How much of a bargain is that? Thanks, Les. You answered my query. Thank you very much. Never mind, Chief Les. I think you're the most trusted and give advice over anyone else. Thanks very much for that. I don't lie. And the reason why I don't lie, because then you only have to tell one story. If you tell the same story, then what's the point of lying over here? I tell it how it is, warts and all. And if you want to take my advice and my information, then great. If you don't want to take it, well, then go and listen to somebody else. And the thing with information and advice, you can take it. And I'm like a sponge. I'll take anything and everything. But I know a bullshitter when a bullshitter comes along, because when I worked for Prince Charles, I dealt with bullshitters, and I dealt with people who were lying. And I'm sat there and thinking, I'm interviewing, and I'm thinking, you're lying. And I know you're lying, but I can't say you're lying. And I know you're not telling the truth. So I tell it how it is, and no sugarcoating it. It's good or it's bad. Like the guy who wanted the Thai person who with their own house and their own car and didn't want him to pay anything. I said, well, good luck with that. You're never going to find that, because nobody wants a 70-year-old ill man who has no money. So yeah, if ask me the questions and I'll give you a truthful and honest answer. I've had people I do draw the line at people who come and talk with us, and they've got the girlfriends and the wives or the whatever, and they send, so what do you think of my girlfriend? Do you think she's genuine? And I won't give advice over that, because you have to find that out yourself. I don't give advice that, I think she's a good one. I think she's a keeper. I think she's a gold digger. I don't think she's going to do anything to you, because I can't form that opinion of somebody after just meeting them for 10 or 15 minutes. So as far as that giving advice is concerned on relationships, and who am I to give advice on relationships? I've been married 4 times myself. I can give advice on divorces and how to stop paying the solicitors money and things like that. But we all have to make our own mind up with the person that we're with. And you go with your gut feeling. And a lot of the times, because your gut feeling's probably right more times than it's wrong. Retirement visa renewal, 2 options: deposit $800 or pay a visit to an agent, 22,000 time back without depositing money. Which one? Well, what I'd be tempted to say, if this is your first visa application, put some 65,000 baht into a bank account for 2 months before you make the visa application. You'll get the visa on the 65,000 baht a month method anyway, because let's face it, you've got to spend some money. And if you don't spend 65,000, it's called the recycle method, where you can spend wherever you're, as long as you're putting 65,000 baht into the account every month, you'll get your visa. That's the easy, without paying an agent. 22,000 baht, that's probably one of the cheapest agents that I've seen. But that's probably without opening a Thai bank account as well. Usually on top of that, there's another 4,000 or 5,000. So that might bring up to 27,000 for using an agent. But with my suggested ways that you can do it, the trouble is with using a visa agent is that usually you're sort of tied with them. If you went into the immigration office and to do your 90-day, they could turn around and say, on your next visit, I want you to bring your bank book because we want to check that your 800,000 baht is in your account still. So at the time, you can say, oh, okay, I'll bring it the next time. Then you've got to go and contact the visa agent, and then he'll wave his magic wand and he'll sort it out for you. But with the way that I suggest, that will never, ever happen to you, ever, because you've already got the proof that you're putting 65,000 baht into the bank account. That's the trouble with using a visa agent. They will also say, I'll do your 90-day reporting for you, but we'll charge you 200 or 300 baht extra for doing that. So that 22,000 might be the bottom line, but I would have a look to see what extras they're going to charge on top of that. Bank account, I would say another 4,500, 5,000 baht. And if they're going to do the 90 days, so there's going to be 3 of them, let's say 500 baht. So there's another 1,500 baht as well. So if you've got the 800,000 baht, why use an agent? Tying your money up. Another way that you can get around that is put the 800,000 baht in the bank for a year, put 65,000 baht in every month for the year. After the year, you can show that the deposit method that you put 65,000 baht into the month. You can draw your 800,000 because you've already shown you've got 65,000 baht a month coming into your bank account. So therefore, you don't have to pay an agent. 22,000 baht. And the visa itself is 1,900. So there are many ways to skin a cat, and exactly what I've said is legal to do it. And you will not have to fear or worry about the immigration officer saying, I want to have a look at your bank book. Right. Yeah, married 4 times, Les. Hell, you must like the taste of wedding cake. Yeah, I do. I've done videos about my marriages and things like that. Stupid. I was young and daft. Didn't go with a gut feeling. And I've got to say, my 4th wife, who was my Thai wife, knocks the spots off my other 3. Stupid, young, daft. Stick my hands up. I made a mistake. But how many other people make mistakes? And how many other people stay in bad relationships because of fear of getting divorced? It's going to cost them a fortune. Now, I know 2 or 3 people in the fire brigade stayed with the wives because they couldn't afford to get divorced whilst they were in the fire brigade. But the minute he retired, the wives divorced them and took half the house and half his pension anyway. So he should have done it 10 years before he left the fire brigade, and then he would have had time to recover. She was a monster. She was horrible, horrible girl. And I said, and he didn't love her. He was having affairs left, right, and centre, but he said, I can't afford to leave her. Why stick to anyway? That's another story. Never married as an accountant. I saw the cost, stress, and clients. Yeah, again, people say to me, how can you give advice on relationships? I don't give advice on relationships. I tell you what I've done, good or bad or whatever, and it's up to you to make, your decision on whether you get married or have relationships or whatever. But what I am good at, because I've had 3 divorces, should say, is how to avoid giving the lawyers the money. and the tricks of the trade that they use to get the money out. You are the cash cow. They will milk you for every penny that you can get. Now, the advice that I give is how to stop paying the lawyers all of this amount of money, and that in fact you can do it yourself, because the lawyers, they'll pit you up against your other half and make you feel really aggrieved with everybody. And they will cost you a fortune. And they really, really will milk you out of the horrible people. Solicitors, horrible. But because I was acting myself on 2 of the divorces, I could argue with the lawyers, and I had some really good arguments with the lawyers. And obviously the lawyers aren't happy with the fact that you can tell them off, and you can say what you want with them in the private little booths, which I did. And there's a lot of expletives that I said to this lawyer, and he didn't like it. I still got rinsed. I still got hammered, because financially wise, he was always going to win because he knew more about the law than I did. But I still had my penny's worth shouting and screaming at him. Bill Simpson, thanks very much for the $6 donation. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. I'm just sort of a mine of information, and the amount of information that I've got, we're almost been 2 hours now. And it's just so, once you've retired, the doors are wide open to things you can do. You can almost travel around the world. We traveled around the world for two years, and I found so many different ways of having a round the world experience for much cheaper. I lived in Europe. I lived in France, Italy, Spain. I even got offered jobs in America and Australia. And basically, it's if you've got a bit of a skill, I mean, I was an electrician as well, so it helped things. You can go and work in places for 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and you get all your accommodation and all your food taken care of. And you have the weekends free. Now, I met so many nice people who do this. I'll one little example I'll give you. He was a retired judge, and she was a retired barrister. So that gives you an idea as the type of house and property that they lived in. And it was superb. It really was. Orvieto in Italy. And my job was to look after their cat in their house for 3 months whilst they went back to Holland. So I lived in this house, and it was just me and my Chinese wife at the time. And okay, we had to buy our own food, but we had the accommodation and the run of the house. The scenery from their house was out of this world. Orvieto, we were 5 miles away from Orvieto centre itself, which was a stunning, beautiful location. And I'm sat there, Christmas Day, having a bottle of wine, nice, beautiful, warm it was as well. It wasn't cold. And I'm thinking, I'm living here for free. 3.5 months we stayed there looking after their black cat. That was the job that we had to do for 3.5 months, look after their cat. Another guy working in the south of France, Trignac, helping to renovate his farmhouse. I lived there for 2 months, one of the best gîtes I've ever stayed in my life. And we worked there 4 days a week. 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. Fantastic. Talking to other guys is going around the world. It just opens your eyes, opens your mind to why do you need tunnel vision? People work, get up, work, come back home, and there's no life existence, and there's no happy times now. And that's what I found in England. There's no happy times. People are sad with their life, sad with their existence. There's no good news happening anywhere in the world. Now, not just, in England or America or Australia. It's all, in fact, on the comments here, name one good thing that's happened in the last 3 months in your home country. Just name one good thing on the comments here, and I'll read the comments. And I don't think there'll be many at all. Not one good thing. I know, I'm just looking at the comments and people are thinking about it. I know. There's got to be one good thing that's happened, apart from the coronation yesterday. But yeah, but like I said very, very early on in the video, all of them people sat at Westminster Abbey, how many people of them are going through the credit crunch? How many people are there sat worried about paying the gas and electricity bills? Not one. Yeah, still waiting for me invite because I used to work for Prince Charles for a year, but never came. Crispin, ask yourself why you believe the GP pound should go up against the Thai baht. What has the UK got going for it? Yeah, again, you know, the UK leaving Brexit, that affected the markets, and the pound has never recovered from that. And let's face it, all of the things that are going on in England, all the lies, all the deceit, all the just corruption. There isn't another word for it. Corruption in England. Why would people have any confidence in the pound? Because they're just fighting against everybody. I mean, not Labour, with the elections that's just happened now, the local elections, they've lost over 1,000 seats. And to the MPs, that's a catastrophic event. That just goes to show that, you know, things are not looking good. And if things are not looking good, how can people draw all of these people think, oh, it's a good place to invest, it's a good place to live, it's good, because there's nothing good happening in the UK. Keir Starmer, you know, is he the saviour for everything? How much crap's going on with Keir Starmer at the present? N Davies, thank you very much for the £4.99 super chat. Absolutely much appreciated. Thank you very much for that. It helps support me and do the things, and you know, somebody sent a little message the other day saying that I must be making a fortune off YouTube, you know, because of the videos that I put. And in reality, for YouTube, I pick up, I think last month I picked up about $50 or something like that for the amount of hours work of doing the research, the editing, and the videos and things like that. It works out at less than the price of a cup of coffee per video that I get. You know, so it's hardly a life-changing experience. But what I get out of it is informing people such as yourselves, who are the newbies who want to come over here. And I get a good feeling that if I can help somebody along the way and it saves them a few bob, then that's my work done. That's the pleasure that I get. I worked in the fire brigade for 30 years. I help people from the minute I start the fire brigade until I finish, and I still help people now. They said the American guy, he didn't know where to go, where to start from, and he had very little money. I pointed him in the right directions, and he got sorted out there. And sadly, he had an accident, but other people helped him along the way as well. That the insurance he didn't have, he had after the accident, that he should have had before the accident. But the generosity of other people helping others. We live in a world that we can live and help each other along. And if we can do that, we live in a fantastic world. But there's so many people who are just ready to knock the average working person down. You know, like, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that, you don't deserve the other. And I've got to say, Westminster Abbey the other day was probably full of 95% of the people there would do that to another person. Anyway, I'm a normal guy who helps normal people, but I get slagged off by the wealthy people who tell me that Thailand doesn't want people like me. Thailand doesn't want people who can navigate the system or bend the system and help poor people live here. There's a place in Thailand for every pay point. Anyway, that's my little rant over for that. So my channel was monetized for a while. I made about 200 in a year. Then they demonetized my channel. Oh, I've heard a couple of people, their channels have been demonetized. All right, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. As I said, YouTube, it's a little bit of money, but I enjoy doing this. You know, my wife. People have asked me why my wife doesn't come on. My wife doesn't. She's sort of camera shy. She doesn't want to come on this, and I appreciate that. But there are some other YouTubers who use their wives and girlfriends as clickbait, and that's why the numbers are sky high. I mean, I'm just over 7,500 now. But I would agree, and I think everybody, there's 79 people on here, would agree that the information that I give is relevant, informative, and useful, as opposed to some people, you know, if you get a pizza from this place, it's the best pizza you can get, or, you know, go and visit here for the best massage, or go and visit here for, you know, for a good night out in the bars or something like that. Everybody to their own. If that's what you're looking for, the bars or the massages thing, well, there's plenty of vloggers out there that will send you in that direction. And there are other people, such as myself, who'll deal with visas and the realistic lifestyle of living here, not the, you know, I call Pattaya Pinocchio land because there's a price for everybody that visits Pattaya to live in Pattaya. It is Pinocchio land, and there's a price to pay if you go and live in there. Colin Hunter, hi Les. What is the best way to move your money from your UK account to the Thai account every month? Because the banks charge each time. TransferWise. TransferWise is, in my opinion, the best. It's called Wise now. It used to be TransferWise, but it's called Wise. And I transferred over last month 1,350 because I'm saving up because I'm going to buy my medical insurance next month. So I transferred over 1,350 and it cost me £8.70 to transfer that amount of money over. And for those people who want to transfer money back to the home country, there's a company called D-Money. Now, D-Money is another good company for sending money back to your home country. So if you do my recycle method that I say, where you get some money here and all the money that you don't use, you send it back to your home country, D-Money is the company that will do it. And their rates are just as good as TransferWise. So, yeah, Wise. Without a doubt, I've looked at all the other things. There are other ways, but the normal way is, I would say, Wise. So JK, thanks very much for that. Thanks very much, £5. Keep it up. Yep, I'm keeping it up. Thank you very much for the donation. Yep, I can buy a couple of coffees now. I mean, when I did 9 weeks in England, somebody said to me, you know, Les, all he kept talking about is the price of everything. Well, the price of everything was up. The cheapest coffee that I got was £1.79, and that was refillable ones at Wetherspoons. And somebody thought I was getting sponsored by Wetherspoons because I told Wetherspoons for the food, for the beers, for the accommodation, which I stayed in Whitby in the Wetherspoons. And my last beer that I had before I come back to Thailand was in the Wetherspoons at Newcastle. Now, I look for bargains all the time. And when I lived in Redcar, I had to get back to Newcastle to fly back to Thailand. And it was £65 for a taxi. £65 for a taxi to go from Redcar to Newcastle Airport. And what I did, because I'm always on the internet looking for bargains and things like that, and I managed to get a train from Redcar to Newcastle for £5.75. I managed to stay at a travel lodge in Newcastle, a 10-minute walk from the railway station to go and get the metro in the following morning for, I think, £25, I think £25 or £27, something like that. And the metro ticket was £3.81. And I had as much as I could eat breakfast in the morning for £9, which I couldn't eat because I still had tonsillitis. So the whole lot was less than £45, and I had a night out in Newcastle. Okay, I wasn't feeling very well, but I still had a night out in Newcastle along the quayside, and the Wetherspoons, £1.79 for my last beer that I had in Newcastle, and then the metro in the morning to the airport. And I got to the airport 2 hours before I was due to fly. And I stayed in the travel lodge in a beautiful big king size bed compared to 9 weeks that I spent on my sister's couch. So if you look around, there's bargains to be had then. That's what I do. I look for bargains. I look for not cheap living, but frugal living. And I do the same in Thailand. You know, I begrudge paying more for things than what you should do if you can avoid it. So that was that. So hang on, let's see what else there is. Finding my ATM has been limiting withdrawals to 15k daily. Nothing to do with my home bank. Yeah, sometimes the ATMs do have a limit on it. I know my Barclays account, I could only draw £300, so that's less than 15,000. But the thing is with the ATMs charge you 220 baht, which is almost £5 to draw your money out. Now, again, this American guy, he was just drawing it straight from the ATM. So it was like nearly £5 for every time he draw what he could draw out. And once we got it sorted out where he could transfer his money to his Thai bank account, his charges just alone in that almost paid, his rent. He was living in a cheap place as well. Maybe it's not quite as much as his rent, but a 1,000 baht a month he was just paying just in transfer fees. So, I mean, you can live here. It's not a very good accommodation, but 2,500 for a little 1-bedroom place. Not very nice, like a little row of terrace houses. But if you needed to live really, really cheap, 2,500 baht. I had a shop house in Ban Phe, where we ran the coffee shop when I first came here. And that was only 3,000 baht a month for a shop house. And we ran the coffee shop downstairs and we lived above it. So there is cheap accommodation here. Nathan, thank you very much. Have an hour's aircon. £2, that'd be all night for £2. Fifth, I think when I did the thing at the shop, it worked out at 45 baht all night for the aircon. But my wife might complain about that now if I put it on for 2 hours. But thank you very much. Which bank is the best to open a bank account? The two probably best banks are Krungsky, which is the yellow bank, and the Bangkok Bank. Now, if you're using Wise to transfer money from your home country to Bangkok Bank, that's probably the best one, because with Wise, they have a little drop-down list, money to support long-term living in Thailand. And by clicking that, it comes up as an international transfer in your Bangkok Bank if you're using Wise. So when you have to show that you've had international bank transfers with Bangkok Bank, that works very well, because then it automatically shows that it's been an international transfer. If you go with the Krungsky Bank, sometimes it might not show as an international transfer, but then that's an easy get around with that, because all you need to do then is just print out your transfers through Wise or TransferWise, and that shows the English money coming out of your bank account, or American money coming out of your bank account, going into the Krungsky Bank, and it gets converted into Thai baht. Now, one time, what happened is that, this is maybe 2 or 3 years or so ago now, instead of my money getting paid into the Bangkok Bank, it went to the Krungsky Bank. Then the Krungsky Bank did a transfer over to the Bangkok Bank. Now, immigration said, we want to see that was an international transfer, because it showed an international transfer from the Krungsky, not an international, in-house transfer. So it didn't show as an international transfer from the Krungsky to the Bangkok Bank. So I went to the Crunkside Bank and I said, listen, I just want you to write me a letter saying it was an international, and they're going to charge me 500 baht for that letter to say, yeah, we received it as an international transfer, but we did an internal transfer to the Bangkok bank. That was going to cost me 500 baht for one letter. So I went back to the immigration department. I said, listen, I said, if I show you the TransferWise receipt to say it was transferred from my bank and it went to Crunkside, is that enough? And they said, yeah, that's enough. So that was free. So there are ways around it that you don't have to get the letter out from the Crunkside bank. If that happens, you just print your TransferWise statement out, and that shows it also that it's been an international transfer. Otherwise, that would have cost me another 500 baht, which is crazy. So things still happen like that. And also, I made one mistake Christmas time and New Year. In the fire brigade pension, we got paid twice in 1 month in December. So we were in Chiang Mai and I wanted a little bit of extra. So I drew my month's January salary in December. On the 27th of December, I drew January's salary. And the immigration were adamant. No, you didn't get paid in January. You got paid twice in December. So therefore, you haven't got your 12 monthly deposits. And I showed them the bank. I said, listen, look, I've got paid this is my bank statement. This is what I got. This is my fire brigade statement. This is what I got. This is my Y statement. No, you got paid twice in 1 month. So you didn't get paid in January. So we're not going to accept it. So I lost my visa. Because it was up for renewal, and they said, we're not going to do that. But thankfully, the immigration officer had a little bit of a kind-heartedness. So she said, you have to start it all again. So I'll give you a 3-month extension, and I want to see 65,000 baht going into you, because this is when I was on the retirement visa. I'm going to show another 65,000 baht every month for 3 months, and then we'll renew your pension. So don't make 2 transfers in 1 month, because otherwise it doesn't show as a 12 monthly payment. Thank you very much for the 100 baht super chat, Super 8 Rescue. Thank you very much. The devil really is in the detail. yeah, it's like everything else, isn't it? So before the pensions or the immigration, used to do a combination method. So rather than having 800,000 baht, you could have, say, 400,000. Then the income made it so it was over 800. Now they've stopped that. So you can't have an income method. And somebody asked me the other day, can I put money into my account every 3 months? And the immigration office says no. It has to be 65,000 baht every month that we want to see it. And we want to see it also on my immigration office. Here's another thing. Different immigration officers read the rules and interpret the rules differently to some other people. My immigration office wants to see my pension comes from a pension source. So I have to show them my fire brigade pension. Now, some other people don't have a pension source because they do it off the stock market or the interest from the banks or stock markets or rental income. And that doesn't show pension. But I do have a workaround for that. And for those people who are interested in that workaround, and it works because I've got several, well, I won't say how many, but I've got a lot of people using this workaround method, which is totally legal because I wouldn't do anything illegal on this channel. And there's ways and means of getting around that. If the immigration office wants to see it from a pension source, that yes, you can. If you've got money coming from rental income or from stocks and shares and things like that, where it doesn't say pension and you don't get a pension letter, there are workarounds that you can do for that. I'll leave it at that. But it's like everything. It's a play around with words, but it's totally legal, 100% legal, and it works because I know lots of people who are actually doing that at that moment. Right, I have 2 Bangkok bank accounts, so I don't have to sort through transactions when printing the records. Yeah, again, as I said, it's like when you some people, when you're sending money to yourself and then you're sending it back, it's wise to have two bank accounts, because otherwise immigration will say, well, why are you receiving money and you're sending money back to your home country in the same bank account? So, yeah. Oh, the 100 baht was from Mekong, not me. Oh, okay. It just comes up. It says, oh, Mekong. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I got you mixed up. Just my eyes. I was reading small print, even with glasses on. If I take my glasses off now, it's all blurry, but put my glasses on. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mekong. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Bank have this when you transfer from Wise also lives. Yeah, long-term living in Thailand. Yeah, you have to scroll down to the bottom. Now, there was a Swedish guy asked me how he gets that, and he was using TransferWise, but he didn't realise you have to scroll right the way down, and if you don't know that tick's there, and he did 2 international transfers on the same day just to prove that it was working, and I was right by saying if you scroll down to the bottom, you do that. So he was generous for him. He sent me $30 for a cup of coffee for just that one bit of information from TransferWise. It's like everything. If you don't know, you don't know. But if somebody shows you the way or shows you an idea of how to do it, it's fantastic. And I think that's how everybody should work. If we can all help each other along the way, then it's great. Yeah, usual tip about the Wise. Yeah. He just didn't know. He said, I'm transferring money over, but he said it never shows as an international transfer. But when he did 2 transfers in one day, and he said, it works. Thanks very much, lads. Hey, Les, did you get your glasses from here? And what did they cost? Yes, I got them from here. I got them from 7-Eleven. 199 baht. 199 baht. Now, what it is, I've got mono vision. When I retired from the fire brigade, I always used to have to wear glasses for reading. And if you're going out and you're reading the menus and that, putting the glasses and putting it in your pocket. So I had laser treatment done. And so my left eye is short vision and my right eye is long vision. And that worked great for the first 8 or 9 years. And now the writings begin. I can just as say, if I didn't have my glasses on now, I could just as say read that. And I can still read the menus without the glasses, which is fantastic. But in low light conditions, I just can't read it. So now, 8 years after the operation that I had to improve my eyes so I can read without glasses, glasses have to come back on again. So now what it does, because this is my long range and this is my short range. So before I used to use this for reading and that for long distance. So now with these glasses, I read with this eye, and this eye, everything's blurry. So it's just one of them things. When I got the laser vision done, they never said your eyesight will still deteriorate after 10 years. Because if they said that, I would have saved £1,000 and I would have just had glasses and sort of, okay, I'm old and I've got to wear glasses. But hey, salesmanship, £1,000, got the eye done, and for the first, say, 5 years, it was fantastic. Not having to wear glasses, you could read everything, even in dimly lit places, you could read it. But now, 199 baht from 7-Eleven. Brilliant. Did you get your glasses? Yeah, 199 baht. Are you subject to Thai tax when remitting pension money? No tax. I pay me tax in England, and even though I don't use any of their services or whatsoever, I still get taxed. And then it comes over here and I don't get taxed at all from the Thai banks. So there's no double tax involved with getting my pension. Yeah, The two bank accounts, one for living and one for immigration purposes. Now, I take it maybe you've got the 800,000 baht in that one, but for those people who are wanting to use the 65,000 baht method, you need to show that that account's rotating or it's getting used. So you can still manage here on the one account, because if you have 65,000 coming in, you need something to live on. So, and then that shows that that bank account is active. Because for the past 2 years, she said to me that I should update my bank book more often than I do. I update it once a year when I go to renew my visa. She said, you need to do it every month. And here we are now in May, 2 more months before my visa's up for renewal, and I haven't renewed. So I'll have to go down in the next week or two and just do at least one, update. But my argument to that is that I give them the bank statements for a year, and that shows all the transactions. And we live 20 kilometers away from our bank. So I'd have to go down 20 kilometers to go and get my bank updated, my bank book updated. For what? For immigration, when they can already see in my monthly statements, that I'm using the bank and I'm using the money. So I just oh yeah, okay, I'll do it again next year. But I'm sure she'll have a word with me saying you need to update your bank book more often. All right. Okay, you probably know this, but Les is a qualified Sparky. Yeah, I was a qualified Sparky. Well, some professional Sparkies would disagree with that, but I went back to what it did. I always had a fascination with electrics, and I used to do electrical work when I was building my own house, rewired my own house. And then what happened is that the paperwork started coming in, that you need all the certification to do any electrical work. And I've got to say that that's good, because it improves the standard of electrical work. But it was also a play from the government to stop all the cash in hand work, because everything had to be certificated. So you couldn't do any more cash in hand work because you had to give a certificate, and there was a paper trail. So it's the same with the windows, being a fencer window, being a plumber, you have to have a certification. Now, it's just another way the government is stopping the cash in hand jobs, and there's a paper trail. So you've got to show the money. Anyway, short story, I should say. I went back to college at 42-year-old to get my City and Guilds as far as the electrician's concerned, and I did me 3 years, got my City and Guilds, passed with distinctions and credits. And the guy who was teaching me the electrics at college says, Les, but you can't go working on sites because you're not a qualified electrician, because you haven't gone through the apprentice route. I said, I don't want to go. I want to work for myself. Oh, he said, well, no problem then. If you're going to work for yourself, no problem. So then I got my NIC certification, and I've got to say I was checked more rigorously, because I did it myself, the electric route, than if I'd have been through a proper apprenticeship. And I've got no problems with that, because then I knew all the work that I did was safe and above board and above standard, or up to standard. So I welcomed the NIC inspectors. Yeah, you pick whatever you want, we'll go. So I never had to I'll show them this one because I know this one's good, because they all had to be good. And I only advertised for the first year as an electrician, never advertised again, because word of mouth. I had loads and loads of work, and the telephone never stopped ringing. And I'm proud to say I did good standard of work, and I would never do anything wrong. So that's my own self-belief in myself. How much Thai do you speak, Les? Very, very, very little. I know a few words, and that's it. I have tried, and my wife has tried teaching me. But for instance, there's some words like cow. Cow means 5 different words, depending on how well you say it. High tone, low tone, forceful or softness, 5 words it means cow. And there's lots of other words like that as well, how they say it. And sadly, I've got a monotone voice, so I speak with one level, and I find it very difficult to speak high level and speak low level. But you've got to do that in your tonal talking with Thai, and I can't do that. So my wife said, I understand what you're saying because I'm telling you how to say it. And her pronunciation of the English words is fantastic. You know, it's spot on. But my pronunciation of Thai words is just way not good enough. And we've tried that. And I said, tell me what I need to say for like ordering a meal, something like. So she tells me, and I try to say it. And instantly the waiter looks at my wife, and my wife says, where it needs to be. And I've tried that in shops. And because my wife is telling me what to say, and she can understand it because she's told me what to say. But another Thai person. So in a nutshell, yes, I've struggled to speak Thai, but you can get by with English without a doubt. Would I like to learn Thai? Probably. Of course I would. Yeah, I'd like to be able to speak Thai. I'd like to be able to listen to the conversation that some of these people have. But I'm learning a little bit. I've learned a few more words even in the past couple of months, just listening. But with the Thai words, they just seem to roll into each other, and it's very, very hard to what did he say? What did he say? Anyway. And also, I think there's 17 different dialects of Thai. It's like my wife is from Isan. That's an Isan Thai. And just a little thing for some of the people who does pick up a little bit of Thai. And you talk to the bar girls in... if you try to talk to the bar girls and speaking a little bit of Thai in Pattaya, then they'll go from normal Thai to Isan Thai, which is a different Thai. And you won't have an understanding of what they're saying. And like my wife's Isan Thai, sometimes she finds it difficult to talk to the Thai people in Phuket because it's a difference. It's like a Geordie speaking to somebody in London. Sometimes they won't get it, vice versa. It's the same in Thailand as well. Well, if you were a billionaire, you wouldn't have to worry about the cash in hand and they're wanting tax. I tell you what, if anybody wants to give me $1 billion or £1 billion, just so I can try, see what it's like, I don't mind giving it a try. And I'll do a video on it, the good points and bad points about being a billionaire. And I'll do an honest review of it. And I'll even give them the $1 billion back, as long as I got the interest for a year. I'll give it a go. I've been poor. I can tell you all the good points and bad points about being poor, but I can't speak with certainty about being a billionaire. But I'd like to give it a go. So if somebody wants to put $1 billion in the super chat, we'll go from there. Be good, get an in-depth walk around Rayong. Well, I do this. I do. When people come to Rayong, we used to do it for free. But we've had so many time wasters who just, won't look at houses and things like that. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And then you never see them again, never hear from them again. So anybody that comes down to Rayong, me and my wife will take them around for a day, and we charge 1,500 baht for that. And it's a full day from 9 o'clock until 5, and we do lunch. And we show them all the good points about Rayong. Where the bars and the entertainment areas, for the ferries, good restaurants to go and eat in, accommodation, because the Rayong is such a big province. You could spend a full day just in one little area. So we do for 1,500, and we show them around in the car. And like if somebody's interested in an area where they want to live, if they see a house for rent or an apartment for rent, my wife will go in, do the negotiation, ask how much it is, and then like bang, we go around and have a look at it. And we've had several people doing that over the past 3 or 4 months, 1,500 baht a day, and they're showing all the way around Rayong. And when you know your way around Rayong, it's an interesting place, and there's lots of interesting things in Rayong. I love the place. I love Rayong. I sing its praises all day and every day. It's a fantastic place. Yeah, 5 tones. This is a tonal language, which means the world or the word has to be pronounced at a certain pitch. There are 5 tones. Yeah, and it's getting them 5 tones. And I've got a monotone voice, so it all comes out with the same. Yeah, my Thai is much better after sitting at the local whiskey tables. No, coughing. Because I've got emphysema now. And the coughing is with a bit of the air pollution that's been happening over the past week or 2 weeks. And maybe he's breathing in a bit of dust because we've got the fans. So I think it's a combination of things. So, and I've been talking now for 2 hours, 36 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and get another water. So if you just excuse me for 1 minute, I'm going to go and get another water. Because, yes, I've got a dry throat. Back in 1 minute. That's it, back. Slurp of water. My mug, now I sell these retired and living the dream mugs. And I got a shock the other day. I had a couple of people from England want to to buy them. And went to post them to England. And the Thai post office says, no, you can't send ceramics in the post because we can't insure them for breakages. So sadly, the 2 people who ordered the retired and living the dream mugs won't be getting them in England because I can't send them outside of Thailand. I can send them in Thailand using Kerry, LAX and Flash. They'll deliver them anywhere in Thailand, but deliver them outside, no, I can't do. That's better. So I can talk a little bit better now. Good night, Les. Bill Simpson. Oh, where were you from, Bill? Good night, because it's afternoon. What time is it? It's can't see what time. Oh, 5:39 p.m. Oh, well. Anyway, good night, Bill. Thanks very much for joining us. You're more than welcome. The lives. I quite enjoy the live streams. How does Rayong compare to Bang Saray? Oh, Bang Saray. We went there once. It's got a nice beachfront, Bang Saray. But with Rayong, the beach from Rayong is something like maybe 30 or 40 kilometers long, but in different sections. And going all the way up to Mae Pim. Mae Pim is probably the cleanest beaches that there is. As you're going towards Ban Chang, it becomes more chemical and industrial. Ban Chang is like the chemical industrial part of Rayong. And that's why there's a lot of employment in Rayong because of the oil industry. Oh, okay, Bill, Australia. You're 3 hours in front of us then. Oh, okay. Thanks very much for the visit, Bill. Always nice to talk to you. 11:30 a.m. in the UK. Okay, in the UK now, I think they're having concerts, aren't they, for the coronation? Yeah, so there's a lot of entertainment going on in England for the coronation today. How's the heat in Rayong, Les? It's baking here. It's hot. You can see I'm sweating, but I'm sat outside, but I'm underneath the shade, and there's a little bit of a breeze here because we don't live too far away from the coast, so there's a little breeze comes on, and so on the afternoon there's always a little bit of a breeze. So that's the beauty about living by the coast, because you're always going to get a breeze, just the way the thermals work. But living in the middle of the countryside somewhere, where there's no breeze, must be really, really, really hot. I've got a friend who lives up Conken, and he's always complaining that it's very, very super hot. You have a wonderful sense of humour. I'm in Australia, by the way. Here it's 8:40 and sunny. Thanks very much. I'm sort of a serious guy, really. Just, humour-wise, thanks very much for that. I'm like a steady Eddie, really. I'm just sort of on that level. I don't go high and I don't go lows. I'm just like steady away all the time. I take sort of every day as it comes. I've got to say, I mean, being a firefighter for 30 years, you take the rough with the smooth, and I've always had a good relationship with my colleagues at work, and we always mucked in. We've become a team and community, and it's the same over here. I've got a certain number of friends over here, and we have our beach days, barbecues, and things like that, and we're a mixture of all people from all over the world. It's brilliant. Germans, South Africans, Swedish, Australians. Yeah, so we've got a mixture from all over the world. So, we gel pretty well. It's pretty good. Somebody else is that. But tomorrow it gets cooler. Well, it just takes a little bit of rain. Once the rain comes, that'll just cool everything down for sure. SK Thailand. Found your channel yesterday. Subscribe today. Thanks very much for the subscribing. Brilliant. Thanks very much. It's steady away. I mean, there's other people started after me, and I've got thousands of subscribers. How they got the thousands of, I don't know, but everybody to their own. That's the thing with YouTubers. Like my channel wouldn't be good for those people who want to go to Pattaya, who want to see the nightlife or the adult entertainment. And so they'll tune into and log into the vloggers that deal with that. And there are plenty of good vloggers who deal with that, because it's a whole different lifestyle. My lifestyle is I've got the girl, I've got the wife, settled down. I live in a nice area. Some people will call it a boring life, but I would say it's a normal life. If you live the bar life all the time, that's exciting and it's a hustle and bustle. But some people can live that life and some people can't. But I like my life the way it is. And there's a few people who say the same thing about, this is their dream. This is what they want to do. And if I can give the helpful tips with regard to the visa, how we live here, how much it's going to cost to live here, well, then that's brilliant. So horses for courses. And if you get some value from my channel, thanks very much. And I hope you can learn from it. All right. Thank you, Les. I've learned one or two very helpful tips. Time to get on with my day. Thanks for everyone else. And thank you very much, Super 8 Rescue. Have a nice day. Thanks for joining. And thanks for your comments. Brian from Hohen. watched all your videos over the years and just wanted to say thanks for your informative videos and dry sense of humour when discussing all things Thailand. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for taking time to comment. Retired age 16 years next week. Looks as though we both picked the right place, although I'm in Bangkok. Enjoy hearing your words of wisdom. Well, Bangkok is, and I never used to like Bangkok. And then I went to Bangkok and I discovered some beautiful places in Bangkok. I like going down the back streets and seeing the different, you know, it's a metropolis, is Bangkok. And it's so, I'm a people watcher and I'll sit and have a coffee and we'll watch the world go by. And it's such an interesting place, Bangkok. And it's so vast, so enormous is Bangkok. And it's Chak Market, down all of the, you know, the subways and we're not mall people, but we've been into the malls, and even the most expensive icon mall, we got noodles there for 45 baht in the most expensive mall in Thailand, and we've got noodles for 45 baht because we looked and we found them. Okay. Okay, another one. I like listening to you. Always good info and positive. Always I hope to make more longer vids. Cheers. Thanks very much. If you ever make it to Ho Hin, message me. Okay, will do. Hua Hin or Ho Hin. I like that place. In fact, that was one of the other places where we considered living because it's nice around there. Just starting to grow our channel, retiring in Siasket later this year. Yep, I'll have a look at that and I'll subscribe to that for sure. Help anybody along moving their channel because I know how difficult it is, certainly in the early days. I mean, I've been going now for almost 4 years, and there's some people with over, you know, 20 or 30,000 viewers or subscribers in a year or two. So, could you recommend any good housing agents in Rayong? We are looking to buy a small house there. Appreciate any help. Yeah, if you send me an email, I can send you a link to a housing guy. But in Banpei themselves, there's a, I forget what they call it now. But there's sort of an estate agent in Banpei with lots of properties for sale. Yeah, there's properties all over the place. But Rayong, I would say it's a nice place to live, Rayong. You won't go far wrong if you live in Rayong because it's not touristy. Everything is much, much cheaper. The food's cheaper, the entertainment's cheaper. And we're not very far away from many, many places. Excuse me, many places. Super 8, thanks, Super 8. Sleep easy. Hi, Les. Could you recommend any good housing? Oh, we are looking, yeah. Montana's Thailand retirement. Thank you, Les. You are fantastic. Okay, thanks very much. How much is 95 petrol there? Oh, I don't know. I only put E-Sip Dem Tang Cap, which is E-Sip 20, fill it up. And now we used to get a tank full of petrol for about 800 baht, but now it's about 1,200. So I think 95, I think it's about 38 or 39 baht per litre. I don't know because we never use 95. 91 or E-Sip, E20. Thanks for the info, Les. Sleep easy, no problem. I have many videos on our trips to Thailand, buying our property and starting land development earlier this year, if anyone's interested. And I'll write that down and I'll sub later. SK Thailand. Thai life. Okay, I've got that, and I'll have a look at a bit later on. Now, there's always many people who are interested in looking at house building and things like that. How did you find your builders? Because I've found builders here, they all say they can do everything, and they might be good at one thing, but they're certainly not good at everything. And I don't think I've met one person who was totally happy with everything that the builders have done. There's always a problem. I mean, one guy had his house built, and his roof wasn't square, and they just botched it. And when it rained, all the rain came into his house, caused thousands of bahts worth of damage because the roof wasn't put on properly. And it cost them a lot of money to get the roof, because they had to basically take all the tiles off, and because it wasn't square, they had to redo it, if you like. But it cost them a lot of money. And of course, the builder, no, not our problem, not our fault. So I've never met somebody that's been totally happy with everything that the builders have done yet here. And I've seen a lot of building projects, and I know a lot of people who have had building projects done. And me myself, we've had all of this fence painted. And the guy, when he first came, we've had 10 panels that needed to be stripped and painted. And on the first day he started, yeah, well, no problem, yeah, we'll do a really good job. And then on the gate, he just botched everything on the gate. So for 10 days he was here, 9 days, 85% happy with it. But on the last day, he just made such a mess of the bloody gate, unbelievable. And it took me an hour and a half, 2 hours to scrape all the paint off that need. So if he just spent 2 hours doing what I did, then I would have been happy, and he would have got a big bone. Well, he would have got a big tip. But as it was, he didn't get as big a tip as he would have done had he spent 2 more hours making the gate good, but he didn't. But that's Thai workers, you know. But sitting and working in the sun all day, I can understand. So anyway, videos you did visiting Redcar were hilarious, and your reaction to the UK on your return was process-led. I get the impression you were relieved to get back to Rayong after enduring the cold. Oh yeah. I mean, I love my sister a bit. She's my sister, but sleeping on the sofa for 9 weeks was not fun. And the apartment that they lived in was fairly warm anyway, but it was cold as far as me, because we're living in this temperature all the time, so you do feel the cold. And she used to be up at 5, 6 o'clock every morning and go to bed at like 10 o'clock at night. So it was a long day for me, because I was up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning with no bed to go in, because everybody was up, the family was up and that. And so I was like a nodding dog towards the end of the evening, just thinking, just go to bed because I'm cold. And I always sat there with a fleece on and 2 shirts, and sometimes I had a blanket over me. And she used to have the windows open. It was December. And she said, well, I want a bit of fresh. Oh, no, okay. I said, you put it on. But she kept saying, I'll put the heating on. I said, no, it's so expensive. And in the 9 weeks that we were there, she put the heating on 3 times for a couple of hours at a time. So cold. In fact, sometimes I was warmer. I used to go to Asda, which was over the road from where she lived, just to get her warm, just like, and spend like an hour in Asda just getting warm. Fancy going to Asda to get warm. Montana, I'm looking forward to catching up with you. I've got people visiting me all the time, and I love it. You know, I'm a talkative person. I'm a people person. I'll listen and talk to lots of people. I've got a guy who's just come over from England, and he's coming from Phuket for a couple of days next week to come and see me. Nice guy. I met him in Redcar, funny enough. We had a meetup, and as I said, we've talked to each other virtually every week since then. Nice guy. But he's coming all the way from Patong, from Patong and Phuket to come and see me for a couple of days before he goes back to England. Nice guy. Looking forward to that. So actually seeing where I live from the YouTube videos to actually being here is, you know, it's different. I'm the same guy. You know, many people have said, "Oh, you're the same as you are in the video." I'm the same guy. There's no airs or graces. It's me, Les, from no matter where you come from. Just completed his build. Well, in February we meet the builder and he's getting us a quote, but I was able to see his work. Yeah, it's good if you see the work that they've done. Not Kristen, but me and 34 others were watching thumbnail. Took me 10 minutes to realise how to go on your channel to watch live. Oh, all right. I don't know. I still don't know how it works. I try to come on at 10 minutes before just to check that camera works. And I mean, I've got a webcam here, and for some reason it wouldn't work with the webcam. So for 10 minutes, and I've got a microphone here. So my apologies that you had to click onto something else. I'm just amazed that I press a few buttons and it works. And here we have 2 hours, 55 minutes, nearly 3 hours. And I said, I'll be on here for a couple of hours, and I've never shut up. But it's interesting because loads of people have the questions, and I hope people get value from this, because then they'll learn one or two things. And I think I'm informative with regard to, you know, the information that I give. I'd love to buy a house or a piece of land to build, but nervous about it. So I think I'll rent for a few years first when I finally get to live in Thailand permanently. Yeah, it's always a, is it a risk or is it not a risk? You know, and it is. But like I said, I've said a couple of times, you can make precautions to make sure you don't lose out. If you're married to a Thai girl, before you get married, you can do a prenup. So if anything goes wrong, you're covered that way. You can use lawyers. You can get a 30-year lease. Even if your wife buys the land, you can get a 30-year lease off your land that you are allowed to live on that land for 30 years or plus it's 30 plus 30 plus 30. So let's face it, if you're 60-year-old and you get just one lease for 30 years to live on that land, that's going to put you at 90 years old. So at 90, I think you just past caring anyway, even if you're still here at 90-year-old. But that protects you. So you can never own the land, but you can own the building. And what I've seen before is a guy built the house, so he owned the house on the land, and he split up with his partner. So he's actually demolished the house, so she couldn't live in it because she had the land and she threw him. So he just got an excavator one day, and the courts couldn't do nothing about it because it was his house. He had it all signed in his agreement. And what she did, she made it untenable for him to live there. He had all the family around him, menacing behaviours and things like that to make it uncomfortable. Although he had the 30-year lease, made it so uncomfortable that he would leave. But he did leave. But before he left, he got an excavator in to knock the house down, and then he left. And nothing happened to him because he owned the house. It was up to him what he did. So you can take precautions, but you never know. Rental by far is the most secure way to go. Is that, you know, the rents here are dead cheap anyway. So if you had like say £200,000 or £300,000, you could put that in the bank and that would gladly pay your rent for the rest of your life, and you still have the £250,000 in your bank account. Swings and roundabouts. It's how you want to do it. I am buying this house to give to my wife, so when I curl my toes up, my wife has something, so and she'll get my pension as well, so she'll never ever have to worry about work again. She's a lovely girl. She's worth everything to me, and if I can look after her when I've gone, then that's my little piece of mind, thinking that she'll never ever have to work again, because she takes care of me now. She's a lovely girl, one of the nicest people you could ever wish to meet. And I want to do my little bit when I curl my toes up, so she never has to worry about money again. And when all's said and done, I'm not doing much more. We used to pay $12,000, now I'm paying $20,000. But one day that rental will stop because it'll be our house. Well, it'll be her house. But even then, as I say, if something happens between now and 12 years, when it takes the amount of time to pay, 12 years, I just walk away and I don't have to pay any more money to it. Right, in Thailand till I die, your interest is quality, which provide you with ever had problems with buffering while watching TV. No, we're only on the cheapest package, 400 baht a month. Never have any buffering problems. We watch Thai movies, 4K movies, because we've got Netflix, and that's the cheapest, 400 baht a month. It might be 488, something, but it's less than 500 baht a month anyway. We never have any problems. We've been asked whether we want to upgrade, but why upgrade when everything works the way it is? Wife dragging me by the ear, cleaning the garden. 2 viewings booked for the house this week, so fingers crossed. Thanks again for your help, Les. Catch up later. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Good luck with the garden. I'll have to do the garden. I'll have to do something. There's some grass needs a little bit of cutting, a little bit of weeding, and I'll do that tomorrow. My wife is, what time is it now? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock in the evening here, so another 35 minutes and it'll start getting dark, and my wife will be back after selling the sausages on the beach all day. So, but it's cooled down now, it's a little bit better. Blah, blah, blah. Right. The advantage of owning the property is against inflation of rent in the future. Yeah, swings and roundabouts. But if you have £250,000 or something, you know, that'll more than pay, I think, for the rent. Yeah, renting is by far the better road to go down. Swings and roundabouts. Some people like it, some people don't. The thing is with renting, if you get bad neighbours, then you can move. Now, I know a couple of people who had, I mean, some buildings shouldn't have Airbnb working in them, but some buildings have Airbnb, and then you don't know who your next door neighbour is going to be, you know, for the next year or so. And if you get some noisy people, then you're stuck there, aren't you? And that's the beauty of renting. If you rented it, then you just walk away. But like we're in the house, we're detached. Our neighbour is maybe, you know, 30 or 40 meters at the back of us, and the house next door to us, it's empty, and the plot of land that we've got next to us, that's empty. So we're a detached house, so we're lucky, really. And we've lived here for 6 years, and we've never had any problems, and we love it here. That's why we bought the house. So, but yeah, renting, there's positives and negatives about renting. It's whatever you're happy to do, whatever you're happy to, you know, to be with. And let's face it, when we're all older as well, we're all, you know, we've got more years behind us than we have in front of us. My primary house is a Thai knockdown, so I can always unbolt it and move it to the beach if my wife kicks me out. Yep. Have you seen them houses that they just deliver on the trucks, on the, you know, just put it on the truck and they just take it. Yeah, my friend did that. Sort of a, well, not I'm just trying to think, but prefabricated house, and it just all joins together type of thing. And he did that exactly for the same reason. He said, if we ever split up, he said, then I can just take it out and I'll take it somewhere else. So yeah, there are other people of the same mind, but that's good, because then you're taking care of yourself and you're always future-proofing, you know, what's going to go. Because let's face it, we don't know. If our wives are 20 to 30 years younger than us in the first place, you know, and somebody else catches their eye, then, you know, it's going to happen, isn't it? And maybe, you know, one day I'll be not very well liked because I'll be grumpy and an old man, and when I'm 80, 85-year-old. But when I'm 86, my wife is 60. So she's an old lady, so she won't be looking for anybody else at 60. Fingers crossed that I get to 86. I'll be over the moon if I get to that age. All right, currently our plan is to build our home base near family in Siskat. Sisaket? I don't know. I can't pronounce that one because I've never heard of it before. Then short-term rentals in different areas of Thailand until we are too old to travel. I don't think you'll ever be too old to travel. I just love it. I've traveled from leaving work at 50 and I loved it. You meet so many interesting people. There's so many places to go and visit. The world is a lot smaller place and travel is cheap. And Thailand, again, so many places in Thailand to go and visit. But my next biggest upheaval for traveling and things like that is when my pension kicks in at 66, because then I'm on another almost £1,000 a month. So we live quite happily on the money that we get, like £1,200 or £1,300 a month. So to add another £1,000 a month, it's just like, wow, that's just fantastic. So then that's when the long distance traveling will come. And although my wife doesn't like flying, she's going to have to get used to flying, because that's when I want to start traveling again and kicking in for the traveling. And I think, if you've got the money to do it, I don't want to have a big bank book full of zeros. I want to have a head full of memories as to where I've been and what we've done. And since I met my wife, we've been to Vietnam, we've been to Bali, and we love the place. And my wife wants to go back to Vietnam, and she wants to catch the train down to Kuala Lumpur. So we've still got many plans, but like big costly plans are 3 years away, because we're buying this house now and everything else. So it sort of sucks up our money for the short term. But I knew in another 3 years' time, I'm going to get another £1,000 a month. So that's why it didn't really bother me. So, and maybe in another 3 years' time, I'll want another car, because my car will be 7 years. So swings and roundabouts. But having another £1,000 a month disposable income is a marvellous feeling. That's what it is, future-proofing. Yeah, future-proofing is looking at what you've got, seeing where you're going, and then dealing with what you've got. John the Accountant, I think it's 67 for you. Like, no, it is 66 and 3 months. October. I was born in July, and I get paid, I think, on the 6th of October. And I've got that in me little bit from Her Majesty's tax, saying it'll be either October the 2nd or October the 6th. I think it's October the 6th is when I get my pension. So a couple of people said, I think it's 67, Les. No, I've looked into it again. It's definitely 66 and 3 months. So, I mean, I've waited another year. Should have been 65. I mean, look at it now. It's going to be 68 very, very soon. 68-year-old before you can retire in your golden years. So, you've been around for 68 years. You haven't got another 68 years in front of you, that's for sure. Where do you recommend where to rent and live over there? I'm 65-year-old. Oh, well, that's got to be up to you, as I say, where you want to rent. When I went around Thailand, I went many places, and I stayed 2 or 3 weeks in each location to get a feel of the place. And even at 2 or 3 weeks in a place, it could take it 2 or 3 years to find the place that you really want to live. So that's what I would suggest, is travel around Thailand, have a look, get a feel of the place before you decide to rent. I mean, I'm biased about Rayong because I traveled all over Thailand and I like Rayong, but Rayong was the last place on my list to stay. And in fact, the guy that told me to stay here for 2, I said, no, I don't want to stay at Rayong. I said, nobody comes here. It's not a tourist location. It's not beautiful. But he said, give it 2 weeks. And I give it 2 weeks, and I think it's a wonderful place here. It's got so many things here. And affordability was number one, because it was a cheap place to live, beautiful place to live. It's not the best place to live in Thailand, but at the end of the day, I'm only hours away from some of the most beautiful places Thailand has to offer. and only 30 minutes away from a beautiful tropical island of Koh Samet, which has got one of the top 10 whitest beaches in the world. So anyway, it's affordable to live here, Rayong, but then there are a lot of affordable places to live around Thailand, whether you like the beach or whether you like the countryside. I like the beach. I was brought up along the beach, although I didn't go down every day, and we don't go down the beach here every day, but it's there when we want to go down there. And in fact, I'll make a point. I'm going to go there tomorrow. I'm going to put my feet up, take the wife, have something to eat. I was sitting on the beach all day because we can. Okay, well, I've traveled my whole life. When I'm physically too old to move around, we'll settle in Sisaket. And yes, you pronounce it Sisaket. All right, oh, thank you, Sisaket. Yeah, I've got a good friend, 86-year-old he is, and he's very infirm and very not good health. And he's sort of a little bit envious. He said, you go all over the place, you do this, you do that, you do the other. I said, yeah, but you're 86. And he lived a good life. He used to drive Bentleys, and he used to have 900 people working for him. So he had a good time. He has a resort in Kenya. He's lived a fantastic life, and he's got 4 houses over here. And I said, but you're 86-year-old. So I said, one day, I said, you were always going to get to this age. I said, you're 24 years older than me. So I said, I've got 24 more years to live before I get to your age. I said, but if I get to your age, I'll stick my feet up gladly and say, I've had a good run. I've got a good run of life. So I'm happy with sitting on this sofa here. If I see my end of my days sat out on that sofa looking at that view over there, then I'm more than happy. So do live while you can, when you can, and do what you can while you can. Because that day is going to come to us all that we're going to be not very mobile. Yeah, Chiang Mai, nice place to retire apart from the smoke. Yeah, and that's it. I never used to fully understand the seriousness of it until it come down here. And yeah, it's affected my lungs for sure over the past couple of weeks. And I'm coughing a little bit from it. And the haze, I've never, ever not been able to see Koh Samet because of the haze. And that's all to do with the pollution. And with the stars on the night, and the moon was out fully last week. Last week or a couple of days, anyway. But there was definitely a haze around that. And that's all to do with pollution. And it does make a difference, the pollution. So it came down south. And I think this is one of the worst years it's had. It even got down as far as Phuket because TNT, Tim Newton, was complaining about it. He does the daily news on in Phuket. He's another good for news-worthy programs. Tim Newton from TNT. Right. Yeah, as my wife gets older, she's only 52 now, but she'll get US Social Security when she's 62, so that money will come in handy. Yeah, that's another bad thing with our pension, with my state pension, my English pension. Years ago, she would get it, but now she doesn't because she's not a European and she's never been to England. She's never worked and never made any contributions. So she will never, ever get my pension now. Even though we're married, she'll never get me state pension, but she will get me fire brigade pension. And that was good. That worked out because I was on the fire brigade pension, and the fire brigade pension changed from one pension to another. And I asked about it. And when I was, because my wife's 26 years younger than me. And when I rang up the pension department, they said, Les, they said, 26, there's a 12-year rule. If your wife is more than 12 years younger than you, we're going to knock 1% off for every year she's younger than you for a pension. So in other words, she was going to get 50% of my pension when I die. But because she was 26 younger, it worked out at 33%. The maximum she could get was 33% of my 50% pension that she was going to get. And I think, oh wow, you know, that's because of the 26-year difference in age. And then I was so happy when I got the letter saying, oh, your pension that you were on was before this new pension came out. So she gets the full 50% of my pension. So when I curl my toes up, she's settled for the rest of her life. She'll never ever have to work again, which is good, and I'm happy at that. But even just looking at that, I mean, I've done another video about people. We're all going to die one day. So before we die, we need to have everything set in order. So I've done a big folder of all the people that she needs to contact, the proof of life statement and things like that. Because one day, my pension will stop to her, and she'll have to prove, one, she's not married, or two, she's still alive. Now, if I didn't tell her that, one day the pension, and she'll just thought, oh, the pension stopped. Les said it was going to be for the rest of my life, but it stopped. Oh, so she won't have an idea as to who to call. Why is Les's pension stopped? So we've gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So if something happens for a reason, she understands, even because she's wrote it in Thai, that I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to do the other. Now, there's many people who've never, ever done that. It's like if you die and you're married here, your wife has to get a death certificate from the hospital, translated into English, give it to the embassy before your body can be released from the hospital and before they can do anything. And that just takes time. It has to be translated as well. So we've gone through the whole lot of doing things like that, which is necessary. So when I curl my toes, because I'm not here, she can't say, oh, Liz, what about this, what about that? Because there's nobody to ask. So some people look upon it as morbid. I look upon it as being, well, I know I'm going to die one day, and I know she's going to be stuck one day, but if she's got it all in front of her, she knows. Get down to the beach, and I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to have an afternoon on the beach tomorrow. Yeah, plan for tomorrow, but live for today. That's my motto. It's good for you, because we never guarantee tomorrow. We all know how much money we have, but we never know how much time we have. And sad to say, over the 30 years I've been in the fire brigade, I've seen too many lives cut short for no reason whatsoever. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong location. If you were to be seriously ill, do you have medical insurance, or would you need to come back for the NHS? How serious is serious? Yes, I have medical insurance for up to 700,000 baht. Now that to get 700,000 is pretty serious. Now for me, I have a funny outlook on life, and okay, let's talk about it. If you got critical cancer, you're going to die within a year or 2 years. I wouldn't go for treatment whatsoever, because why am I going to prolong the inevitable? So if I got critical cancer, terminal illness, liver or lungs or something like that, where you know you're going to die, but it depends. You can stretch the time out. I'll just say, hands up. Listen, I'm 62-year-old. I've had a good innings. Just give me pain medication so I'm not in pain, and I'll accept my fate. Some people have gone through chemotherapy for months, and what's the quality of life for doing things like that? So the short answer to that is no. I'd accept my lot and say, I've had a good innings, I'm on my way out, and accept it. Because I would sooner end my days on this sofa than sat in a hospice somewhere, because my wife wouldn't be coming with me because of just the expense of everything. So I'd die alone in a hospice, talking to my wife on Skype and thinking, I wish I was there. That sofa is my parting of life here in Thailand. But that's my thought of it. Other people want to be surrounded by family and friends and things like that. But that's my sofa there. I'm happy at the end of life being there. My wife will be set, get her own social security from working in. Yeah, again, there's some Thai wives, belonging to English guys who've actually got a job and worked for 7 years in England, and they've got their own pension that they'll get. But it's like swings and roundabouts. I keep saying that, swings and roundabouts all night, and it is. Deal with what you've got. There are some people in a more fortunate position than we are, and there's some people in a less fortunate position than what we are. You deal with the cards that you're being dealt. I think that the girl that I'm with, I love her a bit. She's 1 in a million, and if I can do my little bit to help her along, then I've helped somebody else in my lifetime, as I've done with many other people in one way or another. Being the guy that I am in the fire service, I've saved people's lives, I've changed people's lives, I've worked like with the Prince's Trust, with Prince Charles, changing people's lives, getting them onto a different lifestyle, having a different thinking. Same with when I dealt with people who used to steal cars for a living. Some people have changed, some people I haven't changed. Some people's lives has been affected by my input, and other people's lives have stuck the 2 fingers up me and said, up you, Les. I'll go and do whatever I want to do. We all have choices. I've always been a nice guy, always will be a nice guy, and if you can do good to others, then that's fantastic. I'd rather do good than do bad. Never cheated anybody, never will do. Always been reliable. I think that's blown me on trumpet, isn't it? But then again, I can. Okay, we've been there now for 3 hours and 21 minutes. Okay, I knew a guy who made his coffin into a couch and actually died in it. So we closed it, buried him in it. Funny story. My wife's village, this guy had been ill for a while, and he died. Died during the day. Called the doctor out. The doctor pronounced him dead. And it's a big celebration when somebody dies. And it's like a 4-day celebration. Celebration of life when some Thai person dies. So she ordered the marquees, phoned everybody up. He's been ill for a long time, so he's actually died. So all the family had been expecting it, and they were all coming. So she got the marquee, ordered the monks to do the chanting on the night. They put him in his box. They were waiting for the ice box to keep the body cool. So they put the coffin in like a big ice box, ornate ice box, to keep him cool. So it doesn't smell and things like that. And then, as everybody was coming, they heard a. I think, what's that? What was it not? And the knocking was coming from the box, from the coffin. So they opened the coffin, and there's this guy, still alive. And he got out of the coffin, and everybody like, oh my God, he's and now he's the talk of the village because he's more healthier now than he was when he went into the box. And this was 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they put him in the box because they thought he was dead. Knocking out, true story, because it's from my wife's village. And we see him every time we go up there because we have to drive past his house. And he sat there on his veranda. Okay, he's a little bit frail again now, but 2 years and he was out of his box. And on that note, everybody, because we're now with 3 hours and 23 minutes, I'm going to call it the end of the day because I need to move the car so my wife can come back with a motorbike and sidecar and park up and help her unload the trolley and things like that. So thank you, Les, for your advice, and Bulldogs from Scott, New Zealand. Thank you very much. Married to a Thai, related, live in Carlisle. Okay, I'm going to go. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for the super chats that the people who give the super chats. Thank them for taking part in this. And it's never a hassle doing this. I love doing the and maybe I should do maybe once every fortnight, something like that. I hope you got the information that everybody was after. Again, send me an email down below if anybody wants any information. I do the $10 for, a consultation. You can ask whatever questions you want. And if you get the answers, give me the $10. And if you don't get the answers, you don't give me the $10. I can't be any more fairer than that. And I'll give you the same information that the other people are charging 10 times more than what I'm saying. So, okay, thanks very much. Good night, everybody. From Retired and Living the Dream, Les, and with my cup. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.